You seen this new Amazon series, Full Out?
Full Out?
Full Out.
Yeah, this new Full Out is out. It must be like related to Full House.
It's the prequel to Full Out.
Danny Tanner's taking care of a bunch of kids,
There you go.
in the post-apocalyptic world.
Post-apocalyptic? Great.
Cleaning one room at a time.
Welcome, everybody, to Achievement Hunting 101. This is level 298. With us this week, we have a ragtag motley crew. Above me is Wild West.
Tag me in. What's going on, guys?
Ooh.
It's a ladder match. You don't need to be tagged in.
Oh, sorry. There goes my
Now
lack
everyone
of
knows
wrestling.
the secret. Wait a minute. Diagonally is KooshMoose.
Hello. I will not be partaking in that theme. Just have you know.
I'm so confused.
Without a tan.
And
Never a tan.
rounding up the fatal four-way, we have rawkerdude.
Nope.
Yo, what is up, everyone? I'm here. Don't fear. I don't have a beer.
You look quiet today. Very good.
I look quiet. Very soft tones.
Yep, you do. You definitely do. You look quiet. Oh, so what you're trying to ask me is how was WrestleMania?
What's
WrestleMania
very
weekend.
good. Thanks for asking. I spent time in Philadelphia as a New Yorker and didn't get killed, so I'm very grateful. Thanks for asking.
That's true. That is dangerous.
But you were 60% of the way there.
The Eagles weren't playing. The Sixers aren't in the playoffs yet. Phillies just started their season. I think you're safe for now.
Flyers nowhere to be seen.
Good.
Home with free batteries, though, right? You don't get a lot of batteries.
They throw batteries at. They throw batteries at me. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yes.
Luckily, not the D kind. It was just like AA. One thing cool about Philly, though, is that all their sports venues are in the same place.
Yep.
So their baseball stadium, their hockey stadium / basketball, and the Link. 70,000 people at the Lincoln Financial Field, and it's the most boring stadium alive. Football stadiums are boring. Don't go there. Baseball stadiums are the best. More colorful.
How about we just stay away from all stadiums?
We're teaching you all about baseball, Corey. I know that you downloaded MLB The Show. We'll teach you all about baseball. In the name of achievements, you will learn the sport. That works sometimes. Just like how fantasy baseball can help you learn. You can call it that. See if it catches on.
Just curious.
Just don't go into stadium saying that.
It should be bat balls, really. Has anyone seen the bat balls?
Probably Robin.
Crickets.
Bats and balls.
That was a superhero joke.
Was cricket the sport or what we're hearing after talking? Is that what you're trying to say? That's not nice. All right, well, let's get to the question of the week that we asked our fine patrons to answer. It was a doozy this week, a doozy. And I think Koosh is going to ask it since he was not here last week and we missed him terribly because he went somewhere.
That's true. I went to the Ocean City, Maryland.
The beach.
It's actually a beach.
I could actually do air quotes with people seeing me now. The beach.
An actual beach. I probably have some sand and I don't know. All right. So I ask, you can only preserve one game from each system to represent or define the entire console generation. That's the OG, the 360, and the Xbox One. Which games do you preserve? And briefly, tell us why.
That was an excellent reading of your own question, Koosh.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I got the inflection right and everything.
You did. So, of course, we're going to go with Halo, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Infinite, and we're good. All right, on to Game Showcase, everyone. So, No, first we'll go to patron Fufu Cuddly Poof, who says, OG Xbox has to be Halo. That game redefined first-person shooter games and gave the Xbox its biggest mascot. Who's the mascot of Halo? Cortana?
Ooh. Master Chef.
Master Chef? I think that's later.
Oh,
I don't know. I think Cortana was more of a household name, don't you think? It was a very popular. It's like Siri and Alexa, right? Is that still a thing?
It's
Or is
definitely
that
still
dead?
a thing.
That's cool. Yes, I have a feeling we'll be hearing a lot from Halo. So moving on, we're going to go to Xbox 360 for Fufu. He says, I'll cheat a little bit and say Orange Box. Team Fortress 2 is a big first-person shooter game, even to this day, and is immensely fun. Half-Life 2 did a lot with physics and stuff. IDK, man, I don't like the game, but I know it's super important and stuff. Oh my god. And Portal is God tier puzzle game. All right, we can agree on that. For Xbox One, I'll go with Halo Master Chief Collection, not because it's Halo or because I think it did something great, but because Google tells me it's the most popular Game Pass game. And let's be honest, Game Pass is the only thing that console gave us. RIP exclusive one games we never knew you. Well, there's a lot to unpack there. I mean, Orange Box, yeah, you did cheat. That's probably more of a PC collection, but it did come out on the 360. And as far as Master Chief Collection goes, that was quite a collection. It had a rough start, but it got better.
it's on PC
But
too, though. What are you gonna say about that?
that doesn't count.
Why not?
Well, the Xbox One is basically a souped up PC.
I would say
I
sit
mean,
down
it was-
PC.
Okay, that is correct. You're right. It's soup. It's with a lot of water added.
I just
Like
didn't know where the
canned
line
soup.
in the sand was drawn with that.
All right.
Well,
Well,
it's at the beach,
out of the
Corey.
gate,
Stop dropping hints.
that's sand. I mean, that's a salt water. But out of the gate, Fufu says that the only thing the Xbox One gave us was Game Pass. What do you guys say to that? Corey, what do you say to that? Who's
What
not
the Xbox, like he said, what inflammatory
Xbox
statement did
One
he say?
only gave
the,
us.
the only
Game
thing
Pass.
that Xbox One ever gave us was Game Pass.
That's because he's only played 4 games and they've all been on Game
Ah,
Pass.
there it is. There it is.
Couldn't say Zoo
Gosh.
Tycoon.
He probably
Zoo
would say Zoo
Tycoon
Tycoon.
360, Zoo Tycoon on the one. Windows Phone. Well, I disagree with that sentiment. But we'll move on to Vulgar Latin. His OG Xbox game is Jet Set Radio Future. It's different and quirky and fits the different games the Xbox was trying for in the early years. Okay. If you're not going to pick Halo, Jet Set Radio is a good choice. I actually had the Dreamcast with the OG one, the OG Jet Set Radio, called Jet Grind Radio here for some reason, but it's really Jet Set Radio. And that game is it's a classic, but it's too difficult for me. Too difficult. Xbox 360 Vulgar says Forza Horizon 1, refinement of what worked and iteration. And Xbox One Halo Master Chief Collection, honoring the past by making games for the future. Fits the one, really. Rocky Start, but found its footing after time, plus it lets me cheat and get all the Halo. All right. Shocking that Vulgar would go with a collection game. He doesn't quite talk about those usually.
I think it fits though. Like his reasoning, it kind of mirrors the Xbox One.
Any thoughts on Forza being the Xbox 360 choice of a generation?
It is the
That's not
best
really
driving
my
game,
forte.
right?
That was the one that I kind of was thinking about for the
No.
360 too.
Burnout Paradise is, obviously.
I mean, I don't think you can compare the two.
Yeah, they're different.
But
There's cars. There's arcade racers.
Well, there's the open worldness of Forza Horizon 1 versus you have to drive down that street in Burnout. Is that the one I'm thinking? Is that the one with the crashing?
yes.
Yeah.
It's the one where you burn out.
Yeah, where you just have to crash. It's all about doing the most damage with your car, right?
Yeah, helping crash
Burnout.
out people.
Well,
modes.
the
Some of
old
modes is.
burnouts.
Yeah, the old burnouts. Yeah. Or as I like to call them, the burnouts.
But
Your college game of choice, yes.
I would want to know why he says Forza Horizon 1 when I'm pretty sure up to 3 was out on the 360. Like, wouldn't those be better numerically? 4 was out on the 360.
No.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now.
4?
Forza Motorsport 4 came out October
Oh, that's
no,
2011.
that's the wrong Forza. That's the bad Forza.
Yeah, that's the
You like the Forza
that's
Horizon.
poop. That's poop. That's poop.
I think 2 was the last one that did.
2 probably
That's
came
the
out.
one for people who don't like fun. That's for those people. It's fascinating that someone would pick a car game. Fascinating.
I mean, it's infinite replay ability.
All right. Well, I am
Right.
impressed that people stuck with picking one game and then try to give a bunch of honorable mentions.
Yeah, who would do that?
But that said,
no one on this panel.
No one on this panel.
I will try to stick with one. I mean, I'll join the Halo parade. OG Xbox to me didn't have too many classics, which I'm sure there are some, and we'll get to more later. But that was the one that I played the most. And it wasn't the campaign, it was the onlineness of it, the fake onlineness, because it was a LAN party game mostly, but there was ways to play it online with Xbox Connect and stuff like that. And 4-player split screen multiplayer was also fun. 360, I'm going to say Gears. And you could argue between Gears 1, which came first, or Gears 3, that included Horde, and it was bigger in scope. But I prefer 1. I like the campaign better. I like the music better. I like the story better. So I like Gears 1. And Xbox One, I think I'm going to have to go Hades. I'm still playing Hades. Almost done with it. I'm very sad to be almost done with it, to be honest. I'm really looking forward to the sequel. All right. We're going to go to Wild West next.
All right. I am going to start with a write-in from Nerdy Neo, who says, on the original Xbox, we've got Ninja Gaiden Black. He said, push the Xbox to its limits. On the 360, he said Skyrim, or maybe Portal 2. And then on the Xbox One, he has the Master Chief Collection or Mass Effect Legendary Edition. So,
Now we
right
don't
in
agree
that. So I think those are some good choices there. I think on the one you could kind of see a lot of collections that we've started mentioning, and I think we'll continue to mention as going on. So I don't know how that I'm sorry, I don't play those games, so I'm sorry. Matriarch comes in with OG Psychonauts because I like it, 360 Lost Odyssey because I like it, and on the one Rice because screw you haters. I would more honestly go with Halo, Gears, Titanfall, all big successful MP shooters that future shooters within their genres were inspired by. And that was kind of my answer for the one was Titanfall. That was the game that made me want to get the Xbox One right off the bat. I got that and played that and enjoyed it. Yeah. That was kind of the big one for me that really started that generation. I didn't say Rice, I said Rice. Rice, son of Rome. Son of Rome? What do you want to do?
Yeah, the grain as
Rice?
to rise. Rise up.
Rise, son of Rome? Okay. Gotcha. All right. Our next patron, we're going to go to X, the Pagan Hero, who writes, OG Xbox is probably the worst system I've ever owned in terms of buying and enjoying games. There was just very little that interested me. I got the console for Amped. Have I ever shared that? I suppose the obvious answer is Halo, but I never played that. I guess I'll go with Tony Hawk's Underground because of the ability to rip CDs into the hard drive and skate to your own soundtrack. They were mind-blowingly cool as a kid and was something that you could only do on Xbox.
That's a fair point.
I do remember doing that. I'm trying to remember which game. I can't think of it right now, but I do remember putting some, some of my music on there and listening to it while I played. And I forgot about that. That's pretty cool. 360 is a
Corey.
bit easier. Oh,
Yes.
I just wanted to say real quick that there was a WWE game that was very, very bad. It was called WWE Raw. But the cool thing was that you could rip your music and use that music as entrance music. So that was very, very cool for your creator wrestler.
Yeah, that is
So you
pretty
might
cool.
appreciate that.
That is
Yeah,
pretty cool.
to this
I'm
day-
pretty sure
To this
like,
day, you cannot do that.
you could listen to whatever music you ripped, no matter the game, right? But then
Yeah.
obviously some games had that stuff, I think. I have memories of playing Counter-Strike all night long and listening to Modest Mouse while doing it via that.
That's not all right. At all.
Anyways, please continue.
Sorry,
all right.
sorry, Jim.
Oh, you're good. You're good. All right. X goes on to say 360 is a bit easier. I feel like the obvious answers are Gears or Halo 3 or Call of Duty Modern Warfare or Blops or Skyrim. But I'll go
I
with
was just
Lost
giving
Odyssey.
props for picking one. Okay.
He says, I'll go with Lost Odyssey. Even though the genre
Interesting.
isn't for everybody, it's a perfect example of the 360 just perfectly nailing a genre. Perfect classic JRPG combat with some modern flair. Excellent character design, great graphics, amazing story, great cinematics, and a fair but challenging achievement list, which I think is an important factor for this generation.
Tell me you used to be an English teacher without telling me.
Goodies, commas.
Yeah,
exactly.
Commas everywhere. Any thoughts on that? I have not done Lost Odyssey yet. Think it's a genre defying for the 360.
One that I've wanted to play for many years, but very intimidating. I know it was like 4 discs, and it's a long RPG, and there's some crazy missable achievements, so it's very intimidating. I think it's 60 to 80 hours. Wow, 2008. Oof. But if X says it's good, I trust him, actually. Believe it or not. X the hero.
I would agree. I think that's kind of in that level, especially with all the other examples you given. The easy answer is the one with that. I think is a good choice. Xbox
No,
One
we
has to go to Killer Instinct. Again, fighting genre isn't for everybody, but the amount of love and support that went into this game is damn impressive. It showcased how content updates / balances should be handled by listening to user feedback. It had a fair DLC and microtransaction system, and most importantly, it just plays flawlessly and is a ton of fun for fans, new fighting game players, and veterans alike. So I would agree with that. I am not. I used to be big on fighting games growing up. I have not played a lot of them recently, but Killer Instinct was one that I saw quite a bit. In the different stores being promoted, and I think it was kind of universally liked. When as it came out and content updates and the love they give it. So I would agree with that.
I do give it credit for what he says. Like, I am not good at Killer Instinct, but you could put it on easy mode and button mash, and you will hit combos, and you will get moves off, and you will most likely beat the computer.
Yeah.
And it's the type of game where I'm sure you can master and destroy the noobs, but in the meantime, you won't get destroyed by the computer. So it's cool like that.
Yeah.
Achievement list, though, no.
I mean, if you love achievements, it's got a ton of them. So
Sure, there's a lot.
I like a lot of achievements. They kind of went overboard, but yeah.
makes it
Yes,
easy
they
for
did.
those TA contests, right?
I like press left 32 times in a match. That's a little much.
All right, and the last patron response that I will read is March Madness Barry. March Madness is over, just FYI, Barry. Halo 2 OG.
So was March.
So it's March. That's true too. OG Halo 2. Halo 2 on the original Xbox. The first Halo is more iconic, but if you can only keep one, I'm keeping the better Halo game. For the 360, says Gears of War 3. Loved the story. Gameplay was perfect. Great multiplayer modes like Horde and Beast, and lots of rewards you had to earn and not buy. And then for the Xbox One, he says Arkham Knight, another trilogy ender. Main story, side stories, fighting, fun collectibles, and a drivable tank. This game has it all. I love the Batman lore in there. I love the choice there. Especially being a little bit of a different choice.
That's not the most well-known Arkham game, right? But let's get a bad rap because it's the third one.
No, I think they get a bad rap because of the tank.
The first two were so good.
The tank was yeah. For a lot of the combat was good. The game, the map was good, but yeah, the tank. Some people just could not get past it.
Yeah,
it has its own bad version of tank controls. That's what you're saying.
Ew.
Ish.
Yeah.
Ish.
For my answers, I mean, I would, I profess my love for Halo on the show, so we've talked about that. But I wanted to put another one out there that I didn't see anybody talk about for the original Xbox and for 360. Fable. I thought Fable was pretty, was universally loved. So I'd like to throw that one out there for the original Xbox. The 360. I think Kinect Adventures kind of showed the power of the Kinect, which is what the 360 was like. Kind of showed off those peripherals they had. Another one was Minecraft. Didn't see a lot of that, but that's $1 billion franchise right there. So, and then Series One or Series X and Xbox One, I didn't really have. I'm kind of with Fufu. I was thinking about it, and I mean, Titanfall was the closest one I could get, but that was on. I don't know if it really you would consider that a one that defined this genre, this generation of Xbox games. So that's about as good as I had.
Very cool. Very cool. I need to quickly chime in, and we had a response from new patron Kronos. Thank you for joining. He sent this right before he went to bed, so I meant to read it, but I didn't. So I'm jumping right in real quick. He did not pick an OG Xbox game, but he said the 360 is basically like 3 different generations in one: a Kinect, arcade, and everything else. Seems unfair to try to limit that to a single pick, but I think it has to be a Kinect game if you do, because that's most unique to the platform. So Kinect Adventures. That is a wild pick, and I kind of love it, to be honest with you. I'm on the pro Kinect camp. Dancing games, but Kinect Adventures really showed off everything with the jumping and just everything you could do in that game.
And that kind of showed what the 360 was about, in my opinion, just trying different things. They were trying to catch up to PlayStation. They wanted to innovate, and they did. So.
And Xbox One, he says, is a messy generation. What defines a console but its exclusives, even if timed, and Kinect doesn't work here. Where the Xbox One excelled, if perhaps controversially, was on the indie side. Picking a good quintessentially Xbox indie is tough. I'll pick Oxenfree, not because it's definitely the best, but because it was uniquely good, and playing it with headphones and having the Xbox friends list features and controller vibration really enhanced the impact. That's a cool pick. If you haven't played that game, people on your friends list would show up in the game. I don't want to spoil too much, but it was cool to have that. And you had to tune a radio. So yeah, the vibration and the headphones combined helped you tune the radio. So that was very cool. That is totally a Kronos pick, and I love it. And we did Xbox Game Club on that. Right, Koosh?
Yep. It's out there on the YouTube.
That was Freem? Or was that Kronos?
It was Kronos.
It was both of them. I think Freeman might have been on one or two. And I like that pick. All right, off to Koosh.
All right. Freaky Rose says for the OG, he goes Fusion Frenzy. I think he's serious. Hands down, one of the best couch party games of any of the systems.
I don't want to hear no hate for Fusion Frenzy.
Xbox 360, he says Fusion Frenzy 2. I still think he's being serious. It's hands down a horrible sequel. Okay. All right. So I do not choose
You
Gear.
tricked us.
He tricked me. I choose Gears of War. Start of a solid franchise and one of the most iconic commercials of that generation. That's true.
Wow.
They had the
Mhm.
really cool music, and they kind of kicked off that whole remix, the slow remix of a song to launch a title, launch a game. He says for the Xbox One, it's Rise. Despite being a launch title, I think it still holds up today. And you are correct; it does hold up your game playing today. It takes forever to load, but it is very pretty, and I think he's right. It feels good. It still feels good. It just takes a long time to load those levels for whatever reason.
Does it still take a long time on the series? I haven't played it on the series.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
It's like you would expect it to be significantly faster, and it's not.
Okay.
Pretty sure about that.
Yeah, it was talked about in the chat today. I think Fulger says that it's time gate. I don't know. He had a word for it, but it's
it might have just been a set time instead of like based on resources. But
okay,
not sure. Ahizo says the OG Xbox. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. When you ask someone for a short list of the most defining, iconic, and well-made, well-written RPGs of all time, it's hard to imagine this not making the list basically every time. The story was amazing, traversing the worlds was great, the characters were great, and the combat worked very well for something that wasn't typical KOTOR. There was a period there that wasn't typical. Moving on, KOTOR walked so other major RPGs like Dragon Age and Mass Effect could run. Sorry, I murdered that. Such a good statement. Xbox 360, Gears of War. This is the cover-based third-person shooter. For a long time, new games in the genre were looked at like Gears clones, and for good reason. Next couple of games greatly improved on it, but it started here. Like it had the best cover shooting, right? Because it would snap to the cover, unlike what any other game had done before.
And you could shoot over it.
Yeah, exactly.
All that stuff.
Yeah, no, and it's I hate games that don't do that as a result. So it really made its mark. Xbox One, he says, honestly, I can't think of anything that really stands out as deserving to represent the console here. Maybe I'm missing something obvious, but I don't feel like the Xbox One or even the series have really gotten anything I could call iconic. Gun to my head, I'd probably say the Master Chief Collection. An incredible series, all brought together in a way that really highlighted what you could do with a re-release of some sort. It's used as the reference point when people ask for other collections like Gears of War because it handled everything so well. I think it also did a good job of paying homage to the original version. It was one of the, it was the first game that would allow you to see the original graphics, like switch immediately between original and upscaled. And that was really cool to be able to, because right, we play games and our memory of it is very different than what we actually see, and we remember it at a higher resolution than it actually existed. So it's pretty cool to be able to kind of flip between the two of those.
And then you could, I don't know if it was the first collection, but you could just download the games you wanted to, right?
Yes, you didn't have to.
So you didn't have to spend 200 gigabytes on. If you just wanted to play the original Halo, you just download it and go and play.
Now, I don't think they did that like day one, but I think very quickly they added the ability to just download the pieces you wanted.
And their playlists were amazing. Once they got everything situated, it was a terrible launch. But you could go in and just, if you just absolutely loved Halo 3 stuff, you go into a Halo 3 playlist and play.
And that is something I'm going to get to in my answer. I kind of chains on also with what X said. I'll kind of refer back to that hopefully. Yeah.
Real quick, I think the first Halo on the Combat Evolved Anniversary made it so you can switch the graphics on the 360, and the collection had that for Halo 2. That and it was like super enhanced.
Cool. Chewy on Ice, that little chimney sweep says, I never had an OG Xbox. This is my Chimney Sweep impersonation. So can't offer anything there. On the 360, my pick would be Portal 2. Not just because it's one of the best, cleverest, funniest, and most enjoyable games ever made, but also as yet another reminder that KooshMoose hasn't played it yet because he's a dumb head.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to argue with that.
Shots going out.
Moving on, he says, on the one, my pick would be the Sexy Brutale. Not just because it's one of the best, cleverest, funniest, and most enjoyable games ever made, but also because I just found out that KooshMoose hasn't played it yet, which makes him a double dumb head. Yeah.
Wow.
This is true.
Rude.
He's targeting someone.
This is good, yeah. Cannot argue that. Now for my answers. I'm switching back to my American accent. For the OG, I would say PsyOps, the Mindgate Conspiracy. But that's just because I like throwing in multiple references. But I guess it's probably really Halo. I just think that PsyOps did a fantastic job of, being that action game that you couldn't get on like PlayStation at the time. I don't think. It just felt like the adult system. Like, oh, I'm playing adult games because this controller takes 3 hands to operate. It's that big. Like it basically is a coffee table. So to me, it was a step up to these games from like Mario or from like Crash.
I don't remember learning that you liked that game. I'm trying to remember if you've told
you
us
don't remember that I liked PsyOps? Oh man, that's one of the games I just wish
there's
would.
this other game that you talk about.
Oh yeah,
all the
no.
time.
Well, my first answer, L, but you stole my joke, was Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Revolver, Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Redemption 2 was my joke answer.
That works
for the 3, but you stole that.
Well, I was going to make a point that PsyOps I've never played, but one of my favorite bands, Cold, had a couple songs in there that were made just for that game. So
yes.
Wanted to shout out Cold.
Yeah.
Great band.
For the Xbox 360, I would say Shadow Complex. Surprising no one. And the reason is because indie games. That was the first time that we got indie games on a console, to my knowledge. So not only could this play, AAA games that you buy and get on a disc, but you now have the ability to download these smaller indie titles that can take risks, they can do things differently. So that was really important, I thought, and it's representative in my mind of something about the 360, but also Grand Theft Auto 5, just because it owned everything. And it also highlights the onlineness of the 360 and how that became a really big part, in my mind, of the 360. Once again, this is just in my mind, so it doesn't have to be true. And finally, on the Xbox One, I'm going to go, once again, for kind of the indie, going to go Hollow Knight. Because now we're seeing indies as top tier, super popular games. Granted, not an exclusive, but just a really big part of the consoles. And then I'm going to go with kind of the tie into the Killer Instinct and such. I'm going to go with No Man's Sky, and I'm going to go with that because I think that in this console generation, we see games as a service. We see games that start out rocky, but then get iterated upon, get better and better and better, and they just have this huge life on that console. It's not just a $60 purchase and you're done. This console was all about trying to get you to marry a game and play that game forever. And so I think that No Man's Sky was pretty representative of that. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's something I didn't really think about with games as service. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the Xbox One or Series X. Because you've got, the Fortnites and PUBG first, then Fortnite, and then Grand Theft Auto kind of does it as well.
Hey, Corey, you still here, Bubs?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, you're the main event. Bring us home.
All right. First up, we have Hurricane Dale. Now, remind me, is he Australian?
Yeah.
Okay, here's my Australian Hurricane Dale. For me, it has to be the OG Battlefront 2, mate.
Oh.
All right, that's it. He says it's the ultimate Star Wars experience. Huge Star Wars free play battles, a great campaign, and galactic conquest. I've never played, but have heard good things. So sure. On the 360, he picked Halo 3. A popular opinion. He has such fond memories of custom games like Jenga Tower, Duck Hunt, and Garbage Man. Did not know such things existed.
Me neither.
And on the one, he is
So
going
true.
the cowboy route with Red Dead Redemption 2. What a game. Love the story and gameplay and really showed how far we've come with video games. I do agree. It was sort of revolutionary. It's very long. I didn't finish it, but still good. Moving onward to Philip Wendell. For Xbox 360, he picked Carcassonne, which is one of the few games he kept playing after he completed it. That is a really good game. I would agree. And it is perfect when you want to play it and you don't have people to play it with.
Friends.
Oh, those things. Yes. Xbox One, he picked Yoku's Island Express because it was a good game and no one else would pick it. Fair. True. And on the Series X, he's picking Hades for no reason.
He just made his own categories because
He did.
he can do that.
Yeah, yep. It's for Hades, so okay.
Yeah, Hades gets its own thing here. And then Skeptical Mario, he seconds everybody else's choices of Halo 2 and Gears 1 for the Xbox One. Everyone. And then Sea of Thieves, I guess for the... Wait. Hold on. I'm reading this.
What do you do?
It's not the punctuation's not lining up for my brain. So I second others' choices for Halo 2 and Gears 1 for Xbox One. Then he says, I say Sea of Thieves because it symbolizes the shift.
No. Okay. Go ahead.
It symbolizes the shift to a live service paradigm that isn't a dried out husk of an IP. I do agree. I don't play Sea of Thieves. I don't particularly choose to play it ever. But I will say that is a game that I know many people have sunk hundreds of hours into easily. Thousands even.
Yeah.
If I had to pick some games, I thought we were talking about exclusives. So that's where I started my choices. And so for the Xbox, I'd have to go Blinks the Time Sweeper. It's one of the first games I saved my money for and bought myself.
It was supposed to be a mascot, right?
It was supposed to be a mascot, and I went head first, all in, and got it at Funko Land, pre-ordered Blinks the Time Sweeper, along with NFL Fever 2002, I believe. And man, what a time to be alive. Those were good games. Xbox 360 is harder, obviously a lot larger of a library. And I just don't know what I would pick, to be honest. I do like Shadow Complex, but it's on PC, it's remastered. I have no 360 like. Oh, I take it back. You guys tell me. Well, no, this isn't exclusive, but I'm still going to say it anyways because it's what I was researching. Skate 3. It revolutionized skateboarding games for me. I don't think there's been anything better since Skate 3. And, well, except for the remaster of Tony Hawk. But that remains to be seen in this choice. So, yeah, Skate 3. And then Xbox One. It was not on my list, but after hearing you mention Titanfall, I'm going to go Titanfall. It is the game that I bought the Xbox Titanfall bundle. And so as soon as that came out, I was 100% into it for however, a month or so. It was like a birthday present to myself. And it was like the last big thing I bought myself before I had a kid at the time. And so it was like a little gift to myself. And I completely enjoyed Titanfall 1.
Fall. But that game's a 360 game, so.
Well, so GTA 5 is the Xbox One game, so there.
Oh, right. True. And a 360.
And 360 game. And Xbox Series.
True. We don't make fun of Koosh, though, just you. All right. Great games mentioned all around. Thank you for your question, KooshMoose. Thank you to our patrons for your wonderful answers. Okay. In April on TA, we've had a couple of things we're working on. First one, of course, is our targets. And there's one for playing games with ratings of 4 stars or more. That one's easy. You just have to play Goat Simulator 3, right, Corey?
As long as you play it when the target is active, yeah. That is a 4-star game, baby.
Corey. Did you not click on start the target?
No. I did, but we were playing it, and it was midnight for you, but not me. So your stuff counted, mine didn't.
Right.
Yeah,
that's okay. I remember that now, but we're gonna play it again. You'll be fine.
I'm already done. I'm already done with the target.
Only 3 games.
Okay.
You get one achievement account.
It's only 3 for gold.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Yeah. There's one called It's a Target, where you need to get 6 achievements that start and end with the same letter. And there's one called Use a Guide for earning 6 achievements with the missable flag. That one I do not have yet naturally. I will have to check that out. I'm sure there's some easy ones. I think I'm trying to use Marvel Ultimate Alliance because the DLC achievements you need for selecting certain characters to be in certain parts of the game count as the missables.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'd like to do with. If anyone has any other suggestions, let me know.
That's the only one I had to go hunting for. Originally, I was going to use the new open road game because it had a lot of missables, but they updated them right when the target came out, so they weren't missable anymore.
Well, you should have tried to submit flag edits.
It took me way less time to find 6 games than it would to submit and fight TA.
Mostly kidding.
Fight the man.
Yeah.
Fight the man. And the other big TA thing is a new community event called the TA Open, which is golf. It is a community event based around golf. And so far, we've had 3 holes of golf. And basically, you get an amount of true achievement difference that you need to go for. And there's a max you can get for each achievement. So there's basically, you want to click on your list of available achievements and try to get one as close to that max as possible. Because if you go over, you're going to have to shoot more and get the difference. And basically, you want to go to the par score. And you need to get 5 holes for the community badge, right?
I think the first 5, right?
Or you badging out people?
I think it's any 5.
It's any 5.
It has to be under par, right?
The first 5 holes at par or under. So yes, I hope so. I don't remember if they said how many we're gonna get total though.
9.
9.
Okay, that makes sense.
They come out every other day. And you are right. You need to complete the first 5 holes at a par score or under, which I guess is a bad news bears for some people. Like you could easily miss out on a badge here.
5 of 9, which I think is a Star Wars character. I was just meant to get Prue mad at me. Yeah, I see some people complaining about this one because if you get accidental achievements, you can screw yourself pretty easily.
Here's the thing. It's a bit finicky. You have to intentionally start the hole. So if you were to say, okay, I'm ready to do this, let me start the game, and you load up something and it auto pops, yeah, you're going to get screwed. You could also start the game, go right before the achievement, and then start it, wait a minute or two, and then get your achievement. But otherwise, yeah, you can easily get screwed out, but you have to be a bit intentional about this one. It's enough to make it not as fun, if you ask me.
Yeah, you have to pause it.
Only if you're
Wait
serious
a
about
minute
it.
or two.
You can pause it, yes.
Unpause it.
Well, you have to give them credit for trying something, right? To kind of make it so.
Absolutely.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that their attempt to make it so that you don't accidentally pop something you don't want to actually cause people to pop things that they didn't want to. So that part's not great, but or not pop things that they did want to. So they're trying to add these, niceties, kind of, make it easier so that number one, you can play games while still doing the contest and not have the contest dictate what you're allowed to play. As we know, that kind of sucks. But yeah, so that it's kind of unfortunate that didn't happen. Like today, I actually had an issue because I didn't wait long enough after I teed off. I didn't wait a full minute. So then I got my 17 pointer and then I paused it, just to lock it in case something else popped. If my score was wrong or whatever. And then my 17 pointer never counted, and I was just like, okay, well, maybe things are a little slow right now. I'll wait half the day. Came back to it later, still hadn't gone in. I was like, all right, well, okay, let me just unpause it and take a little time. Luckily, that my second 17 pointer took a couple minutes, and that was all it took to get that one to count. So that was something I learned today, is that you have to wait after teeing off.
Yeah, I can't appreciate the effort that's gone into it. Like if you go and look at the hub, each hole has its own graphic, and
Mhm.
at
Very
first,
nice.
if at the very first hole, I made a comment like, "Oh, you should be able to, hole in one. Like this is easy because it was only 22 TAD, but the max you could do was 15." And I see why now. Like it's changing on every hole, and it does actually make it a little bit more interesting. Today, hole 3 was the first time you could do a hole in one. Max, it was 17 TAD, and you had no max. So if you unlocked a 100 TAD achievement, you were negative 83 points. So like there was some strategy today that was not present in other days. So
in that way, like days 1 and 2 were probably set up kind of like an introduction. Like you can't screw yourself by like 300 TAD because the max is 15. So they probably did that as like a little, here's a guardrail to help you kind of rein it in, learn how the system works. And then
right, and it actually, and it actually helped me because I think on that first day I loaded up an easy gamer score game, had title updates, and I had auto pops. All the TAD was above the max of 15, so it actually didn't hurt me, didn't count for me, but it didn't hurt me either. So yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, hopefully they'll get a little bit more interesting, but it's a different type of feel, different vibe for this community challenge. And Mental Knight has said, I've never seen a golf course, and he is right. He's literally right.
Not even mini golf?
I'm a master at mini golf, sir.
A master?
What about rocket-powered cars on a golf course? Have you seen that?
I'm decent at that, yes.
Are you turbo at it?
Turbo man, that's what they call me there.
Skeptical Mario's making golf puns in the chat. Wish you were here, everyone. Oh. Well, so far I've only done one hole, and I look forward to doing more holes. Like hole 3 was easy. You could get 17 for a hole in one. And hole 2 involves 69, so that one's my favorite so far. I need to do it. And then I bet you hole 5 is going to be tricky. Let's have a hunch. Is this a Freem Hole special? Do you have
I don't have that intel.
info on that, Koosh?
I mean, is this only his idea? No, I don't think it's
Yeah.
only his idea, but I do believe he had significant
The
input.
brainchild.
I didn't ask him that. I didn't ask him how much of his
You should ask.
DNA was in this.
In the holes?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'd like to know about that. Okay. We have something in the rumor mill, but it's most likely accurate, and that is that Xbox is reportedly preparing a Call of Duty Game Pass announcement. Does this mean anything to anybody here? Like, which games would that include? I don't know.
The Call of Duty ones.
So all the old ones too?
Probably.
That's what you assume?
Yes, I assume every single
The
one.
new ones are all free, aren't they? I don't
So the
even
question is, would they do them they just dump them all on one day? Do they push them out a little bit?
This
at
is
a
what I
time?
see. I see a Game Pass graphic, and it has every Call of Duty on it.
Mhm.
No droppage, like cherry picking. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go.
That all looks like the same game.
I think we get all of it at once, and no L. I don't think any of the newer ones are free. Maybe Warzone,
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
but I think you have to have a Call of Duty to download that. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I mean, I'm kind of excited because I do like the campaigns in them. Even that police one, I like the campaign.
But they still have campaigns.
Yeah. Yeah, but you had to pay for them. And like, now I don't have to pay for them because.
Did Call of Duty do a police one, or are you thinking of Battlefield?
He's thinking of Battlefield.
Is it Battlefield?
Yeah,
They're the
Battlefield.
same game. Come on.
Battlefield Hardline, I'm pretty
Yeah.
They're
sure.
the same game.
That's the one that's like, hey, let's do 1,000 kills in DLC or 100,000.
Luckily,
kills.
I edit, so you'll never know about that. Yeah.
Nobody will know.
That is true. But Call of Duty, I think, has zombies. I mean, that, every war you've ever known, you learn about zombies.
Yeah, World War II zombie
thought.
chapter in the book.
Yes. Okay. It's now time for Games Showcase. Koosh, we will start with you.
Already. I'm going to talk about
Will we be having video today?
Yeah. Why don't we do that? Give me a second. Well,
All right. Anybody who's listening, pop your little eyes in to match your ears, and you're going to see video footage of all the games we talk about.
So I'm talking about a Game Pass game.
Time.
It is called Chicory, and I believe this is probably going to leave Game Pass before too long.
Wait, what?
Oh no, I gotta play it.
Yes, I believe that this game is going to be leaving Game Pass pretty soon. It's almost at the 12-month mark, so you're going to want to get in there and get on it. Chicory, let's see what does TA say. They say it's about 15 to 20 hours. I've put in 8.5. This game is kind of like a black and white Zelda. So it's very much a Zelda-like, but there's very little combat. The combat is all boss fights, and for the most part, they're all about avoidance. You play a character who becomes the wielder of the magic paintbrush, and your job is to put color into the world and keep interesting colors in the world. You can change things and make things interesting for people. There were several wielders before you, and they just kind of pass it down as they feel they need to. They don't die, it's not a sad story, but they just kind of give up the brush and give it to someone else. So that's how the game kind of starts out. You go to visit the wielder, and you end up getting the brush. So you are now responsible for bringing color back to the world, and you don't really know a whole lot. So your moveset is really limited. So you'll be applying colors in like little streaks. You can actually change the size of the brush to the point where it will kind of fill like a little area. You'll be able to get basically kind of like in Photoshop, you'll get like the paint bucket tool, at one point, and that's great for coloring large sections of the map. And you're going to be using color and the paintbrush to open up ways to get around the map. There are things that will be blocking you. For instance, you won't be able to move past certain trees sometimes because it might just be blocking a path. But you see that there's clearly room between the trees. Well, at some point later on, you get the ability to kind of Splatoon-ish like ability to swim through paint. So if you paint the entire grass field, you can swim through the paint that goes underneath the trees, and you can get through small cracks and excuse me, and things like that. So that's one of the ways that you'll get a movement ability to kind of help you get to areas that were previously locked to you. That color will also play a role in how you find some collectibles. Sometimes there will be these little kittens that are hiding, and you won't know that they're hiding. But if you color a tree, or you color all the trees on a screen, a couple seconds later, one of those trees will suddenly have no color because there's a little kitten hiding in that tree, and they kind of shook the paint off. So if you just quickly paint that tree several times, kitten flies out, you collect the kitten, and that's one of your collectibles. This game has a lot of collectibles. So you'll be getting achievements for getting all those different types. You know, the hidden cats. There will be things that you can use to decorate your home, things that you can use to decorate other places, and outfits too. You'll have hats and I guess like costumes, so like shirt or whatever. Basically just two pieces. So you don't have like a really large ensemble. But the game is very cute, and it's very kind of kid friendly. It's very PC, and it wears the PC on its sleeve. And for some people, I know that's a problem. So you may kind of be annoyed by that.
Palette cleansing.
But you know, it's an indie game, and you know, they tend to be a little bit more like that. But I thoroughly enjoy the game. Thoroughly enjoy the ability to just, you know, the way that they gate the progress through the maps. Like, oh, this is so much Zelda, right? Like, you know, I can see that ledge. I'm gonna get to that ledge at some point. And then you eventually get the ability that lets you get there. Let's see. There is one thing to watch out for in this game. There's one missable that unfortunately will cause you to have to do a whole nother playthrough if you don't catch it in time. So there's going to be a point in the story when you get a certain number of collectibles, and those things will be decorations in this case, like rugs, couches, chairs, lights, things like that. You're going to hit a certain number. For me, it was around 80 or 90. And at that point in the story, your mom is going to call you. And at that point in time, she's going to say, hey, come back to your house. I'm going to come visit you. I want to see, you know, how you've decorated your house. You then have to go back to your house, put a couple decorations on the wall. Don't go crazy. Just one or two. Leave the house, leave the screen that your house is in, go back in. She will give you a family portrait. And that is one of the collectibles. That's the only way you get the family portrait. If you somehow miss that, you somehow miss her visit, you're going to have to do a second playthrough and get that in order to get all of the collectibles. Luckily, I thought maybe I had passed that point. But as I was playing further on, I got the call. Actually, it literally was like 2 minutes after I had decided that I was just going to start a new game, but I wanted to finish this conversation I was having. And then boom, my mom called. I ran back. I was like, okay, that's so good that I don't have to like spend another 6 hours or whatever getting to this point. But yeah, like I said, this game's probably going to be leaving soon. I'm having a really good time with it. And I think if you're into Zeldas, this is a fantastic Zelda. Not very much combat. It's only going to be those boss fights that you have the combat. So it's not going to be a difficult skill-based thing that's going to be preventing you from doing it. It's just going to be having the time to get to this game. You guys have any questions about Chicory?
Looks pretty basic.
Yeah.
Am I seeing that like
so you say it's
go ahead.
like you said it's Zelda-y, but it doesn't have combat. So what makes it Zelda-y? The
What makes it
puzzles
Zelda?
or
Number
just
one, it's the
the way
way
the screen-to-screen thing?
it's the look.
Yeah.
It's the transition from screen to screen.
Right.
It's the,
Right.
you know, I see
see that.
boulders. How am I going to get past the boulders? Well, I don't have a skill that allows me to destroy boulders yet, nor do I see a way to get to the boulder. So yeah, so you'll be getting those things. You'll be leveling up the brush, and your affinity to the brush gives you the ability to do things like jump and swim and climb through paint, basically.
Hook shot.
There's no hook shot yet. I don't think there's going to be one in this game.
Oh, Neo might be onto something. Here's a question
There's
for
no
you.
double jump, Neo.
Oh,
Vayner Light.
It's very much as you're playing it. If you've ever played a Zelda, an older Zelda, you will definitely get that sense.
So am I seeing that like different colors do different things with the trees and stuff like that? Is that
No, they actually
is-
don't.
No,
It's
okay.
it's a little more simple than that. It's the presence of paint or no presence of paint.
Oh, okay.
So like some trees will basically they'll grow when there's no paint on them, and they'll shrink when there is paint. Then there's these other plants that will have multiple leaves on them, for instance, and you
Mhm.
can influence the way that they grow. It goes down a unit, it goes over a unit, then I can jump onto it, and then I can reset it, and then that moves me in the level or in the screen to a different position, which I can then now move it to the left one and then up one. That helps you to navigate that puzzle. So all kinds of interesting ways to interact with the screens that you're on using paint to kind of figure out these puzzles. And it's one of those things where you get the enjoyment of, I know I can do this. I mean, I know I'm supposed to be able to do this. How do I actually do it? Using the tools that I have. And in some cases, it gets a tiny bit tricky in that you have to maybe reset a tree. So let's say there's like 3 different trees and 2 of them bounce you. And then what you need to do is activate one tree or activate 2 trees. Step on one, it'll bounce you. And as it does that, it deactivates. You then have to arm it again. You're all while you're in the air. You'll hit the second tree, bounce back to that first tree, which you've now reactivated, and then bounce in a different direction. And so every now and then there's a tiny bit of difficulty that comes with that, or maybe that's just how I decided to do it or how I figured out how to do it. And there's actually a much more simple, clear, straightforward way to do it. But that's how I found to solve some of these puzzles. They weren't super convoluted, so I'm pretty sure that was intentional. That was the intention was, oh, you have to reset this one thing while you're kind of also moving around in the air. But it shouldn't be a big, like I said, it's not a huge skill challenge. It's a cute little game. And it's just it's interesting to have color be the mechanic that you use to interact with the world.
So I see that, like on the screen, there's you found a kitten. Is there is there a collectible guide, or is there any notification that this tree out of all the trees has a kitty in it? Anything like that?
Yeah, so it's really hard at the beginning. Before you start getting like the ability to have like that paint tool, for instance.
Jeez.
The paint is fantastic because you click on the grass and it'll just cover the 80% of the screen. Or if you click on the trees, it'll do like most of the trees. And if there is a cat hiding behind a bush or a tree or something, it will shake the paint off of that tree. So one thing
Oh,
you can do
okay.
is you just like rub the brush across every tree. If you don't have the paint bucket, for instance, you can just touch every tree with color, wait a second or two, and if only one tree doesn't have paint on it when you're done, that's the tree with the kid, and you just like hit it like 3 or 4 times with your brush. The kid will pop out and you grab them.
You get locked out of any area, or
Oh.
can you just go?
No, in fact, I think you can actually. There might be a reset, or maybe I'm thinking Little Gator Game. Little Gator Game has a reset position. I don't know that this game does, but yeah, you don't really get locked out of things. The only way you'd get locked into an area is probably forgetting, leaving the game for a month, coming back and forgetting how to actually navigate and use the game. If you're on the live stream right now, you're actually seeing a boss fight.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, it's mostly about, like I said, it's mostly about avoidance and just painting, certain areas on the screen, which represent like an eyeball or is just a weak point on the boss. And you just keep moving away. If you do take damage, boss fights are really easy. If you take 2 or 3 hits, you'll go back to a checkpoint in the fight. You won't go back to the very beginning of the fight. You go back to a checkpoint in that fight. So as long as you're able to do like 2 or 3 hits of damage before you get knocked out like 2 times, you're going to slowly work your way through the fight. You're going to get through it. It's really not designed to be a challenging game or a test of skill.
This reminds me of the Zelda DS game with the stylus.
So forgive me if
Let's
you
if anyone
mentioned
knows.
it. Are you playing it on console?
I am playing this on the console. Actually, I'm doing both.
Okay.
When I was at the beach, because I totally went to the beach and was near a beach, I played on my Surface. I played Chicory on my Surface. When I got home, I played it on my console. I had no issues, switching to my save. In fact, I think I actually played it console first, then Surface at the beach, and then back to console. So it worked really well. There might
I
have even
think
been some
the
cloud in there too.
Yeah, I think the bigger issue would be switching between your controller or a mouse. I played this on PC. I couldn't imagine how this is with a controller. It seems like it's too much,
No,
at
it's
least in
actually
a
not too
boss
bad.
battle.
Well, see, here's the thing, and I may have mentioned this before. I don't use a mouse. I use trackball. So for me, using a mouse is really difficult. It's really hard to use that trackball and make things move quickly and accurately. It's much easier to do that with a mouse. So for me, even when I'm playing on PC, for the most part, unless it's like a console command type game, I'm going to be using a controller.
Controller, yeah.
So what's up with the achievements? Because I only have a couple friends who have completed this game, and a lot of people just seem to have started it and stopped it.
So
But
when
it
I
doesn't
first
seem
started the game,
difficult.
I guess I didn't get it, right? Or I didn't play it long enough to get it, to actually be like, oh, okay, I'm kind of, now I'm having fun solving these puzzles. Because when you first start out, you don't have a big repertoire of moves or abilities, and maybe you haven't quite figured out how the game works, like how, oh, this is how I interact with this type of plant, and this allows me to get around here. And maybe you're having a little bit of difficulty because it's in black and white, and it's kind of hard to see the different levels. Like, oh, this is up a tier, but I can actually get up here, but it's just like up a little tier. Maybe that was my problem going in. When I came back to this game for the second time to actually put like another half hour or hour into it, I was like, why did I stop playing this? Like, this is really fun. It's really colorful. It's the type of thing that I like. And when I go to the beach or when I go on vacation and I only have access to a few games, there are way less shiny things to distract me. So I can focus on 2 or 3 games because that's all I can take with me. The Surface has a very small hard drive, and the internet is not great. So I'm able to focus on a couple games, and knowing that this was going to leave Game Pass soon, that really helped me to kind of put more time into this and be like, you know what, number one, I'm going to finish this. Number two, I'm enjoying this. So it's a strong recommend for me. Like, if you like Zelda games, and you don't necessarily need it to be like a true test of skill, this is not a bad way to get a Game Pass completion.
I guess I have to ask in Fufu's honor and for Jameson if you would pay $20 for this game.
Would I pay $20 for this game? Probably not. But I mean, if it was 40, I'd say, oh no, definitely not. $20, maybe. If it was on sale, I would say 10 for sure. I think 10's fair. I think 15 is kind of probably what my upper limit would have been for a game like this.
Lowest it's been has been 14.
So it looks like it released May 30th, 23, day one into Game Pass, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, believe so.
So we're thinking June, whatever, first week of June.
I'm thinking something
June
like that.
1st.
It's really coming up soon. So I mean, if you wanted to do this, you should probably get started on it soon. Yeah. Now this had been out on PC, and that's how I knew to be kind of excited for it, because I had heard people talking about how great of a game it was on Steam or PC or however they were playing it. So I was really looking forward to this one. And I think when I first started playing it, I didn't get it right away. But once I said, go back in for that second sit down, that's when I really was like, oh, okay, now I get it now, and I'm ready to try to finish this.
Very cool.
Yeah, there you go.
Alrighty, that was Chicory, A Colorful Tale. And up next is Wild West.
All right. So just a quick update on what I've talked about recently, and then Neo talked last week. I finished the story for Immortals, finished the first DLC. I'm working my way through the second DLC. But as Elle mentioned, I was looking for a target game that was going to be a 4-star game and also had some missables in it. and someone in the TA community page for that specific target recommended Pentiment, which is something that I kind of thought about when it came out, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get to it someday. It'll be on Game Pass, most likely for a long time, so I'll get to it eventually. But being as I kind of looked into it, and it's a game that you can kind of pick up and start and play as often or as little as you want, I thought it'd be a good one to go into. So I'm going to be talking about Pentiment today. This is a game that was released by Obsidian on November 15th, 2022. It's an adventure game. It is rated pretty well on TA. It's at 4.2, and it's as we'll see here on the video, it's a hand-drawn game. You take the role of a illustrator named Andreas, and you work on so you work as an illustrator in the Abbey. It's in I believe, the 1600s or 1518. So 1518, you're in this little town. You're working as an illustrator. You don't work in the Abbey or with the church. You're just kind of freelancing there as you're learning. And the first act, I just finished the first act, and it kind of starts a little slow as you just kind of start going through your daily life. And then it picks up at the end of the first act as someone gets murdered in the Abbey, and you set off to solve it and to prove one of your monks that another fellow illustrator is not guilty of that act. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. As you see on the video, you can kind of go around the town and talk to different people. You'll kind of have some branching dialogue. As you talk to different people, and they'll ask you questions about your past or what you are fluent in, or the skills you have the option to change any of those skills. Usually, I don't know if we'll see it in the video, but when an option comes up, it will give you like 4 choices. For example, someone asked me where I had been at for some of these years, and you had a choice where you could say I was in Italy, I was in France, I was in Belgium, whatever the choices were. So you can choose whatever choice you want, and that'll influence the dialogue that you have with that person, and it'll also possibly influence future dialogue as well. One of the other choices that I was able to make was Andreas was at the university before he became an illustrator and artist, and you could talk about and have a little bit of an insight into another job. I chose for myself that he started out trying to be like a lawyer and then decided he didn't want to do that anymore. So as I was going through options when I was trying to figure out the murder and who possibly could have done it, options that came out with the law symbol came on there, so I could kind of influence how the direction went. So this is, as y'all know, I'm a completionist. This is a 20 to 25 hour completion, according to TA. I think I've put about so far 6 to 8 hours in to get through Act 1. I just started Act 2 today. You have the option when you start the game to either have the dialogue read in Old English text or in modern text. So as you see on the screen right now, that's the Old English text. If you can't read cursive, I would recommend doing the modern text. It's a lot easier to read. It's just kind of like a typical one, typical Microsoft Word text that you have. But I would kind of, classify it as one of those kind of choose your adventure games, because you get to kind of influence how the conversation goes and the different choices you have. I've enjoyed it so far. And so, as I mentioned previously, there are a lot of missables in the game. As I was doing some research on this, it seems like you're going to have to do a minimum of 1.5 playthroughs to get all the achievements in the game because of the missables. So if you want to follow a walkthrough, there is a walkthrough on TA. I am kind of glancing at it, but not following it, word for word, just to kind of hit the missable target. I finished that, I think, yesterday. But I just kind of wanted to do a fun walkthrough first and kind of see the game because I am enjoying it so far. It does have achievement tracking on some of the items. I know Koosh will like this. You do have to pet some animals to get an achievement, and most of them are dogs. And every time you pet an animal, I think you have to do 5 of them. So you'll get 20% added each time, and then it'll pop on that. You also have to look at a certain amount of flowers in the game. I think there's 10 of them, and so it'll go up 10% each time. So no issues with tracking at all on that. But it does not have a manual save in the game. Every time, as you've kind of been seeing them going through the different areas, every time you change area, it'll kind of like flip a page like it's in a book, and then you'll get an auto save. So if you ever need to save the game, just make sure to change scenes and save it, or else, because I got to the end of Act 1 today, and then I was going to Act 2, but I was going through a dialogue, and I hit what I thought would be, I started the next act, and I was like, okay, it's saved, pulled my game back up, but because I didn't change screens, I had to finish Act 1 again and go to Act 2, which was only about 20 minutes. It wasn't that long, but still, just as a cautionary tale there. But I think it's really fun. This was a different genre for Obsidian. We kind of know them as their big RPG games, and they'll have another one out later this year that I'm looking forward to. But this was a nice little side project, I think, that they had just a few members of their staff doing, and I really liked it.
Quick question: do you get the sense that your first playthrough? I know you said that like you have to follow a guide. You're gonna have to do 1.5 playthroughs. Do you get the sense that your first playthrough can be blind,
Yes.
and your second half, or maybe even if you have to do a second, will you be able to just get the other stuff without having to be super paying attention to what you chose the first time?
So there is like no auto text or anything. You do have to hit the A button. And from what I've seen in the walkthrough, he tells you the choices to make to help lead you to the missable achievements. So as
Okay.
far as that, you could really just kind of say like, what's on the screen? Okay, boom, hit that, move on. The only accessibility option they have is that you can have it where when you talk to someone, the whole text comes on the screen instead of having it like in a writing thing that I've seen just on the videos. So that's what I did, because I like to read the stuff and then move on instead of having it wait for the whole sentence to pop up and then clicking A to move on. So, but yeah, I don't think you really on the second playthrough you really could just kind of hit the choice and move on and not really pay attention and just kind of move around as you're seeing him move. You're controlling him right now. He's not going automatically to a different area. So
But as far as the conversations go, like I'm trying to think of a game specifically, but you can kind of take like, oh, I'm going to be the jerk this time, because that's just I like to play the game as a jerk the first time I play through,
yeah.
and then the second time I like to play as a nice guy. Are you going to be locked into that, or can you kind of be like neutral and just do what you feel in the moment, or are you going to have to stick to like a good or bad kind of track?
So I
Which has
haven't
been
looked
like
that
two.
far because I wanted to kind of keep my achievements. I wanted to see it
Okay.
kind of fresh. But you can make those snarky comments. I was kind of being a dick to the church leader here in this first playthrough, and so I would make a lot of snarky comments. And there actually was an achievement for it at the end of Act 1. It said you finish Act 1 as as the church leader was mad at you, and uh, so far, I mean, we'll see later on. And I think there's 3 acts in the game from what I've seen. So I'll still have 2 more to go. I'll see if it plays any payoff later on for that. But yeah, you can be nice. You can, there is kind of like basically a 3 option. You can be nice, neutral, or you can be mean to someone if you want to.
Okay.
The game, I think I'm confusing it with the Procession of Calvary, which was a very funny game. This one
yeah.
It
seems
looks just like that.
this
Or
one seems
Inkulanati.
more
Yeah.
serious. Is that true?
It is more serious. I did play Procession, and that one was definitely more on the sarcastic and did the parody type stuff. I would say this one does have some humor in it if you are following along with what they're saying to each other, but it's not on the same level as Procession.
Okay.
But there is some sarcasm in there. There is some language and jokes and stuff like that. They do make some stuff that is kind of jokes about the church and different things like that, but not on the level of Procession though. Yeah, I haven't done the Incluminati yet, so that was another one I was kind of looking at in the future. I think the thing that you're seeing on the video is like the kind of the colors filling in. I think that's how, if you don't have the accessibility option to have the whole sentence come up, I think that's how that kind of plays out. I don't have that. I just have it so the sentence, like when you're going through each sentence, it just pops up right away, and so you can kind of move through it a little bit faster.
Gotcha.
Worth a check out. I mean,
Okay.
20-hour game, not too bad. If you need missables or just you can go in and out of playthroughs really quick. So, I mean, if you just want to play for 20 minutes a day and get an achievement, it's definitely worth. This game will be that for you.
All right. And this is another game that's on PC Game Pass, and that is retails for $20.
Safe to say this one will be on Game Pass infinitely.
Oh yeah, because it's Xbox published.
By
And they own
Obsidian.
Obsidian. That too. All right. Thank you for your sentiments about Pentiment. Great joke, Elliot. All right. It's my turn. Believe it or not, Corey, I'm not going to talk about a baby game this week.
Oh, I beg to differ.
I'm going to talk about,
Toddler game.
well, I'm going to talk about a tweener game. A tween. Well, the game is called Reverse Crawl, and I guess babies crawl, so you got me there. But this is a game by Digerati. Came out in 2019, and it says on TA that it's a turn-based RPG, but it's not like the old Final Fantasy games. It's more of a strategy game where you're on a bunch of squares and you move around the squares. Earliest example I remember is like Shining Force. What do you call that? Like a tactical RPG? Is that the right terminology?
Never played it. No idea.
No. So the reason it's called Reverse Crawl is the advertising says that you are the dungeon and you control the monsters. So basically, as you play, you recruit monsters. And as you can see on the screen, if you're watching, you can choose between the zombies, the skeletons, and those will be on your team. And in true RPG fashion, you have weaknesses and strengths, and it tells you weak versus cleric, good versus small groups. And if you don't like your choices, you can re-roll them. So usually I don't play these type of strategy RPGs, but I wound up really liking this game. So as you play, you unlock new characters. There's 24 chapters, and after each chapter, you can choose there's a little bit of RNG, so you'll get a couple of choices to go to the next chapter. And unfortunately for the achievements, you're going to have to do some multiple playthroughs as well. For example, there's the Red Dragon, the Horn Demon, and one other one. And basically, there's 3 choices that are all in chapter 14 or so. So you have to play through again and get to that level, that point of the game again. That's the only unfortunate part. I don't think there's a chapter select. The good news is that the game is very short. There's 24 chapters, but each fight takes maybe 5-10 minutes. If you win or lose, you get experience, and you use that experience to upgrade your powers. But even if you lose, you still can upgrade your powers. So that's unusual in RPGs. So that's kind of roguelitey. So even if you lose, you eventually can just keep getting better
Does the XP
and power
stack?
through.
Like you don't have to spend it right away?
No, you don't have to spend it. So you basically get points,
So what I'm hearing is
and there's
you
an upgrade.
could
There's an upgrade screen.
just run failures over and over and over and get a bunch of free XP.
You know, I never thought of it that way. I have not lost on purpose. Usually, if I lose, I eventually win on my 3rd or 4th try. And as you can see, also there's other RPG tropes, like there's magic missile that you can cast. And on the screen, you see like old school RPG things like, it says zombie ponders the next move. Zombie deals 134 damage. So I think that's more just to be old school, but you don't really read that stuff. You just click A and you see how much damage you deal right there, like traditional. Anyone play this game before? I don't think so.
Can't say that I have, but
I know
it
you're a
does
Digirati
have
fan, Koosh.
some missables. A lot of them.
I like Digirati, but no, I have not played this one yet.
They're not quite missables. That's like, it's more that you pick one and not the other, like I was saying. So there's the good ending, there's the evil ending, and then there's the easiest choice and the cruelest choice. So they're not really missable. You're picking one, and then your next playthrough, you're going to pick the other one. So
right. But for the target, they're missable. The flags on TA, almost every one is
which
missable.
ones? There's 8 missables. So that's not bad.
I've seen the game tile a lot. Like you said, this is an older game. I always thought this was a play on the reversey board game, so I've never looked into it.
Really?
Yes. But now I'm somewhat interested, seeing the video and hearing about it.
Yeah, it's not difficult. TA has this as 6 to 8 hours. If you know what you're doing, it's probably that. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, why these? Yeah, like I said, they're not really missables. You're just going to play. And I think there's a little RNG to get certain things to appear. But basically, you're going to keep track of what you pick, and then you'll get those achievements, and then you'll pick the other ones on a subsequent playthrough. And I think there is a new game plus as well. I'm almost done with the campaign. I'll have to report back. But yeah, it came out in 2019, so it's not that old, but old enough, I guess. It retails for $12.99, but it's been on sale as low as $3. And what's funny, I happened to look this game up on Steam, and their retail price is $5.99, and it's on sale right now for 89 cents. So I guess we pay an achievement tax. We get it for a few bucks more.
Yeah, I was just
This
looking.
game frequently goes on sale. Yeah.
Does it? Because I was looking and it's not tracked as
No.
going on sale, at least in the
Used to.
past like 9 months.
Oh, wow, it used to. Yeah, you're right. 2021. I remember it's part of many bundles as well. So maybe those will go on sale, hopefully. Well, I'm gonna email Digirati and tell him to put them on sale for you.
Okay.
It's for you, buddy.
Thanks.
Yeah, for $13. I mean, seeing that it hasn't gone on sale in a few years, it's probably worth it if you're into RPGs. If you wait for a sale and it does go on sale, then I would definitely grab it. Any more questions? We should I turn that video off no more.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So what's like the end game that you're working towards?
Defeating the Red King? What do you mean? Like what?
Like what's your gameplay? Like you said, you're making or doing monsters and stuff like that. Like are you trying to like take over something or take over a castle or?
You just. Oh, were you watching the video?
Yeah.
So basically, you just you go to the monster and you hit them, and if you have a ranged archer, then you can hit them from across the board.
He's asking like, what is
Like
the end
story.
goal of the game?
Like what's the story end goal?
Yeah.
The story?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're going after the baddie boss.
Okay.
Says every video game member.
Yeah, it's the you're the Revenant King, and I think it was the red. Oh, I forgot now.
All right. Sorry, I asked.
You want me to pay attention to the story now?
I guess I thought I was trying to get you to sell me on it.
You're ridiculous.
You don't play a baby game. We ask you about the game.
Yeah. There is a story. I just don't remember it.
No, that's good.
Unfortunately, it's one that I pick up and go back to for contests and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to try to beat the story for you.
All right.
I'm going to get the evil ending for you.
Maybe if we all put it on Price Track,
I'll
we'll
sell
get a
you on it.
sale.
Play it.
We'll get a sale on it here.
Yeah. Put it on Price Track.
I did. Just for you.
Good. Dungeon crawler. Which, of course, it's called reverse crawl, and dungeon crawler is not one of the genres. But I actually agree with that. It's not really a dungeon crawler.
It's a reverse crawler.
Yes, it's a reverse crawler. You are the dungeon. That's what it says. All right, that was reverse crawl. And there's a crawl on the bottom of the screen that says to go to rawkerdude.
All right. So, I like to play new games for you guys. And I played a super brand new game called Botany Manor. This is brand new to Game Pass. So you pretty much have it, every
Pretty.
single listener here. And we're just going to talk about it super quick. It is a first person puzzle game set in an English Victorian manor in like the 1800s. And you are going through this manor and you're growing plants. Now, that doesn't sound exciting, but this game is really fun and it makes you feel super smart when you get stuff right. Just to set the stage, we came and we found out that this game is a stack. So is on PC Game Pass and it's on regular Game Pass, and you can get two different versions of it. I've already completed both. So this tells you a couple of things. One, it's probably easy. Two, it's quick. I played this game naturally the first time on PC, and I beat it earlier today. And then I said, you know what? It's time. Let me just do the console version. All the puzzles are fresh. And I speed ran that in like TA says under 2 hours. It's probably under 3 hours. But once you know what you're doing, obviously, it's just a walk in the park. So what the game is, it's kind of like what I think like Myst and what's this other game? Starts with a W. I just had it all day long. The Witness. I think it's like that. I haven't played those games, but it reminds me of what those games might be.
Good tier.
And so, like I said, you're filling out this book of plants, and to fill it out, you have to grow the plants. What you don't know is how to grow them. You have to gather clues scattered around the environment and read them in order to connect the dots to figure out what you need to do. So to break it down, the very first one, I'm not going to give you the exact answer, but it's this most simple intro puzzle. You see 3 different things across the room that they have dots on them, so you know that you can interact with them. You read them and they get added to your clue index. And when you open up your book, you'll have the flower there, and you'll see that it contains 3 possible clues. And you can assign those clues to this plant. And once you assign once you fill up all the clue slots and they match that plant, they will lock in. So you know that you don't need to use them for other entries in the book. And if you need to refer back to them, you know which ones to do in order to finish that entry of the book. Now, in the first one, you're going to see a postcard, a chart with flowers on it, and a temperature gauge. And you need to pick the pieces of those clues to figure out where this plant originates from, what type of flower it is, and then combine that on the matrix of the temperature gauge to figure out what exact temperature this plant grows in. And then once you get your pot and your soil and your seed, you have to go and find the heater and heat it up to that degrees, and then it grows. I'm not going to tell you any more puzzles because that would be doing a disservice to yourself for this game. I don't know. There's just something about it that made me feel it was really relaxing. And again, it made me feel super smart until it didn't, which happened, rather quickly. But as you go through the game, you go through chapters. Each chapter has, besides the introduction, 2 to 4, I think, plants that you have to figure out. So you're gathering a lot more clues, and you're having to decipher which ones go to which plant. And as you're going through this manor, you're blocked obviously by certain places. So the chapters kind of they kind of hinder your progress. So you do have to go in order. On my second playthrough, I found a door that had a lock on it. I already knew the combination to the lock, and I was like, can I sequence break and go in there? The game's smart enough to say, no, you can't do that yet. It doesn't work. So you do have to go in order, but you are unlocking the different parts of this like mansion and the grounds around it in order to find all of this stuff. So being first person, kind of a walking sim type feel to it. What I can say to you is you'll want to look at every single thing that you can interact with, pick it up. Some things are just they're there for flavor. Look at everything. You'll get some random achievements from it, and sometimes they'll provide some lore. But most of the time, they're going to be clues to these flowers. What else? My only pet peeve with the game is that these clues that you pick up, and I said that you can assign them to a flower. That's really nice because they say this is the clue, like the title of the clue and where you found it, but you cannot read that clue once you found it, which I think was that's the only thing that I hate. So if you want to read it again, you can. You just have to go and find it. And when I was really trying to put the pieces together, I ended up just like taking screenshots on my phone saying, okay, I know I'm going to need this chart and I'm going to need this chart here, and I'm going to have to cross-reference them. Let me just do that myself. It would have been really nice if I could have just did that in the book where I've already gathered them, but it is what it is. As far as achievements, it's sure. As far as achievements go, you're going to get the vast majority just by doing the game. And if you pick up everything, you're going to get all of that. Then there's going to be a few random achievements. The good thing is once you beat the game, you can load back into it, and you're at the point of basically when you roll the credits. So you can go back in and do anything. Nothing is missable in that regard. And what I found out today, I didn't actually look close enough, but the console version has 6 additional achievements that the PC version doesn't. And they're all miscellaneous stuff. So interesting bit of info there, but Botany Manor just came out, Game Pass, couple hours. Well, I will say my initial playthrough took me over 6, and it probably would have took me more. I played it as fresh as I could and as blind as I could, but there were some puzzles that just stumped me. So what I did is I found a guide that somebody had made, and I scrolled just enough to see the next hint, and it would get me by. And I did that like once, maybe twice. The only time, and it was a moment of weakness. It was late at night last night, and something was not clicking about this certain plant. I had all the clues. I just couldn't figure out how to put them together. So I ended up seeing a list, and my eyes stood there too long, and I saw the answer, and I just did it. And then I felt terrible. I felt dirty afterwards. I just hated it. So if you can, there are guides out there. You could run this game in a few hours, and you could do it twice for the stacks. But I would encourage you to play this game as blindly as you can and just enjoy it. It looks beautiful. It's not realistic, but it's kind of cartoony realistic graphics, and I really enjoyed Botany Manor. So you should play it, L. It is not a good RTDL game. You do not want to leave this and come back. There's not a lot of direction. You just need to play it and just stick it out.
Yeah, it's really great. I also played it. Something jumps into Game Pass, I play it right away. And yeah, if you hadn't talked about it, I would have.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't look at anything beforehand, so it was a pleasant surprise.
Well, it fooled me.
In what way?
I figured it was like I don't know. I figured it was like a flower growing simulator, but like a boring one, not a puzzle game. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's not a simulation at all. So that's good. That's a good thing.
I realize now we need a game about stately Wayne Manor or something like that, or something like that, like Batman, like at home, Bruce Wayne at home.
Sure.
Okay.
What? It'll be fun. I think that's good. Thank you, Jameson. At least I know you knew what I was talking about.
I'm just imagining Bruce Wayne like, I took the Joker to Arkham Asylum. I'm gonna water my plants now.
Oh,
Like,
they combine the two? That's a great idea.
You call it Botany
you-
Manor?
yeah. You mentioned there's like chapters. Is there like a chapter select thing, or is it just you can't progress? until
Yeah, the chapters really just contain you in like a certain part of the mansion. That's where the clues to this next set of plants are going to be. So there's no like picking like your starting point. You can go back through, and you will have to go back through the mansion to get to other places that were previously blocked off. And in kind of Metroidvania fashion, there are doors that only unlock from the other side, so you have to get there, and then you basically create your own shortcut at that point. So yeah, you learn that map really well by the end, and it's not too big, not too small, and best of all, Koosh, if you haven't found it yet, there is a sprint button. So
There's a sprint button, and there's an accessibility menu that allows you to turn into a toggle. Same thing with the view button.
Oh, that's good. So
Oh.
another interesting tidbit is, so played it on PC. It's exactly what you would expect. I picked it up on console, and the controller felt super slow. I could not get used to it, and so I plugged up a mouse into the console, and it works. So you can use keyboard and mouse there. But yeah, I can just move so much faster that way. So if you're having a slow controller problem, you might want to look into that.
Wow. I'm just waiting for L. Apparently there's no pill for that.
Hey, if you got it, you can go for it, Koosh. At any time. Hey, Corey,
AL.
there's a pill for that.
Oh, thank you. I'll prescribe to that.
Yeah, it's like when you get the like flowers, and then you have to give it the plant food, and yeah, looks like a pill sometimes. Like Dr. Mario. So speaking of new Game Pass games that Koosh and Rawker have played, my son told me to download this game. You know what it's going to be, right? Good. Little Gator game?
It's
What's this all about?
It's Lil Gator game.
Yeah, Lil. Like I said, Lil.
Lil.
Oh, it's about a girl named Lil?
That's just his New York accent coming through.
Lil.
That
Little.
Lil Gator
Oh,
game
I see it
is
now.
one of my top games of last year.
Yep, I remember that.
Get out.
It's a good one.
Oh, so you played it before? I could have sworn I saw you playing it recently. Maybe that was Koosh?
I just played it today, and you could say that
Okay.
you could say that my account finished it today too.
Okay, I will say that. I will say that your wife played it. Yeah.
It's a super
So
wholesome.
it's a baby game, huh?
I would not say it's a baby game. Not in
No,
the
it's not
terms of achievements. It is a wholesome,
Mm-hmm.
relaxing game, a la
Family.
a short hike in
Yeah.
that category.
Imagine a short hike with a
Oh,
camera that you could control.
Oh. And good graphics?
And a bunch of gators.
Sure.
And cute graphics.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah, short
maybe we'll
hike
talk
that
about
does
it at some point next week.
pixely. Oh. To quote you in the chat, don't threaten me with a good time. I'm ready. All right, that was the games showcase. And if you didn't hear, Corey talked about Botany Manor.
It's a stack.
Pancakes are my favorite.
It is a stack. And now it is time for sales. Koosh, what tabs you got?
All right. This morning I woke up and saw Cronus's post about Shotgun King, the final checkmate. I was going to talk about this game just because of the name. I just like the name. Now, I don't really like the game. It is a chess-based roguelite strategy game. It's got 83 achievements. So that's all stuff I like, but it just looks a little weird for me. The cool thing to keep your eye open for, that's $10 down from $12.50 if you're actually interested in that game, is that this same developer has a game called Super Fetch Dog on Steam for $6. And it sounds amazing. It's a game of fetch where you play the dog. It's platformer set in a lush forest that keeps getting more dangerous as your little master throws mysterious orb into it again and again. But the orb's too important. You'll need to retrieve it for your little master before time runs out. Game looks awesome. Now, Shotgun King came out for the Xbox about a year and a couple months after it came out for Steam. So I'm hoping that we'll also see Super Fetch Dog. So that's just kind of keep your eye out for it in the future. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about it. Next up, we have Blacktail, $12 down from $30. It's an action adventure, 30 to 35 hour game. You play as the Baba Yaga. And it is a first-person archery and spellcasting game. So that's going to be most of your combat is done with either a bow and arrow or you're casting spells. Pretty cool looking game. I wanted to check it out when it first came out, but it was too expensive. But 12 down from 30, I may pick it up and play it in a year or two. Next up, we have a Nice Death. It's $16.74 down from 25. This is a platformer roguelite. It's got 4.24 stars from a total of 15 votes, but the game looks fantastic. This is the lowest price ever. I really like it. It's not colorful. It's dark. It's very dark and kind of gloomy, but it's beautiful. So check that out. And yeah, it's $16, but the game looks really cool. I'm hoping it's worth it because I'm going to pick it up. And next up, and lastly, the Recharged game series. These games are like, they're old kind of arcade games, but they've got this recharged aspects to them. So games like Asteroids, Black Widow, Breakout, Caverns of Mars, Gravitar, Missile Command, and Yars, they all are $5 down from 10 each. These games are the games you remember, but they've kind of been up-resed, and they've got modern niceties to them. And they also have added new modes. They've new power-ups. They're just well done. I played the Missile Command. I was really missing Missile Command, and when I saw Missile Command Missile Command Recharged, I had to get it. Very happy with that game. Haven't completed it, but that's how it goes. I'm looking at collecting these other ones, and since they're 5 down from 10, I might have to jump in on some of them. I was really hoping for a collection to get them all for a really great price. Then there's two games, Berserk and Quantum, which are $8 and $7 each. So not quite that $5 price point. But if you like those old games and you want to play with them with a new spin, check these out. See if one of them's for you.
Okay. I have been playing another game that's on sale called Adam's Venture Origins. It is a puzzle adventure game. It is normally $15. It is on sale for $3. And it is relatively short in the 4 to 5 hour range. If you're looking for some easy gamer score games, there's my favorite game about an octopus, Takotan, which is East Asia Soft. It is $2.09, normally $7. And right now it's at 4,000 gamer score. It's only a matter of time before it gets up to 5,000. Classic game, classic. Wild West.
All right. The first one I've got up is the Prototype Biohazard Bundle. It's $14.99, down from $49.99. Got an open world hack and slash game there. The I think the TA playlist for the month is playing one of the Tomb Raider games. And if you are interested in joining that, they have the Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor Trilogy. It's all 3 of the new Tomb Raider games along with the DLC. And it is $17.49, down from $49.99. And those are, in my opinion, very good games. So I would highly recommend checking that out. You have the Blizzard Arcade Collection if you want a collection or some replay some older games. $9.99, down from $19.99. 6 to 8 hour completion, rated 4-star on TA. So got some good games there. A new one I found from the Spring Collection is the Fresh Start. Kind of look like a Power Wash Simulator S game. 8 to 10 hours, 3.88 rating. So kind of like a kid's version of it from what I saw on some videos. So if you like Power Wash and you want some more of that, check that out. And the last one I have is Murder Mystery Machine. $3.99, down from $9.99. It is a point-and-click game, adventure game, and looks interesting. So I'll probably check that out too.
Thanks for asking. I want to shout out KO the Kangaroo. KAO the Kangaroo. It is $9, normally $30. It does have paid DLC, but this, and it's only like $8 full price on the DLC. But this game is kind of gives some Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, like the 3D Crash Bandicoot vibes. It is really fun. That little bit I've played of it, and this is the lowest price that it's ever been for the base game. So $9 is a good deal for KO the Kangaroo. The other one I want to mention now is Urban Trial Tricky Deluxe Edition. Now, this is only $3. Normally it's $20, and I think that's why the number of players is only 319. This was criminally low, in my opinion. When I just looked, I was kind of shocked. You should definitely look into Urban Trial Tricky Deluxe Edition if you like Tony Hawk mashup with Trials games, because that's what this is. It has the Trials like physics and maneuverability. It's 2D, but think about if you had a level that you could go left or right in, and you had to get certain combos, you had to collect things in 2 minutes, and you had to get high scores and things like that, just like the old Tony Hawk games. That's what Urban Trial Tricky Deluxe is, and $3 is absolutely worth it for that game as well.
I accidentally just bought that.
Oops. Yeah, I'm over here looking at Baby's First Power Wash Simulator now. I did not know that existed.
I didn't either. I was just kind of going through it, and I saw that, and I was like, oh.
So if Cow the Kangaroo married Blinks the Time Sweeper, what would we get? Your favorite game ever?
0.5.
It's obviously KO's out, right? He's a kangaroo. He's got boxing gloves on. It's KO.
Yeah, L.
I mean, I never played it. You should feel sad for knowing that.
Just, if you've seen the cover, it's a little more obvious. Now, I haven't heard it. Maybe they do actually say cow, but in the game. But clearly, to me, it's KO.
I was saying it with an Australian accent because
there you go, mate.
That makes sense. KO. Yeah.
KO,
yeah.
Mike. KO.
Or KO. It's like when Logan Paul uses brass knucks.
Never happened.
Just no stopping KO. Oh. You're right. Ah. It's an anniversary edition.
There is another edition that has stuff in it, but
scarred.
That's not on sale.
Yeah, you're better off with Urban Trial, I think. Urban Trial, tricky. Alrighty. It's time for Koosh's favorite segment that Wild West covers, Game Pass.
All right, out now we have Lego 2K Drive on cloud and console.
Nice.
It's arcade racing, automobile, open world game, 60 to 80 hour completion. The aforementioned Lil Gator game, cloud, console, and PC. Action adventure, 4 to 5 hour completion. Kona, cloud and console adventure game, 8 to 10 hours with a walkthrough. The other aforementioned game, Botany Manor, cloud PC. So Koosh has written here a Series X. Is that just a? We don't have 3 stacks, correct? It's just a 2. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's just the
correct.
two.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Botany Manor adventure, a puzzle game, looks to be a 4 to 5 hour completion with stack there.
probably.
So
Yep.
First one's like
Nice.
6, your second one's 2.
yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. All right. So we have the other one that is out now, Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, cloud console and PC, third-person shooter, stealth platformer, 40 to 50 hours with a walkthrough, and it contains all the DLC. Definitely check that one out. Very good. April 16th, we have Harold Halibut on cloud, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. Looks like an adventure game.
Looks really cool. The graphic
does.
style. It's like a claymation, I believe.
Yeah.
She
It
Stop motion, yeah.
definitely looks interesting, yeah. April 23rd, you have Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, role-playing turn-based. April 25th, we have another Crab's Treasure, action-adventure Souls-like. And then April 26th, we have Manor Lords strategy, possible Steam. Steam has it as a city builder as well. So those are the ones that are coming out this month. Leaving Game Pass on the 15th, so you have about 5 days to complete that. Amnesia Collection, survival horror, 15 to 20 hours with a walkthrough. We also have Amnesia Rebirth, survival horror, 12 to 15 hour completion there. Back for Blood, first person shooter, action horror, 150 to 200 hours, and also has 3 DLC packs. And I believe I just saw that they have the Ultimate Edition that has gone on a sale. So if you want to pick that up, does that include everything? I'm not familiar with the
$10.
$10. So yeah, it's really cheap. Does that include all the DLC and everything then?
I think it is.
So-
Yeah, it's like the $100 version for $10.
Yeah.
So
So I
better now.
recommend picking that up if you don't want to try to complete that before it leaves. Phantom Abyss is also
Right.
leaving on platformer, and it's a platformer and roguelite. 25 to 30 hour completion there. Research and Destroy is a third-person shooter strategy turn-based game, 20 to 25 hours. And Soma leaves as well. Action adventure, 6 to 8 hours with a walkthrough.
All right, Koosh, it looks like it's time for the Gamer Tag Challenge.
All right. So it's a new month in a week. And so we didn't do Gamer Tag Challenge last week because I wasn't here. So thank you guys for holding off and letting me do that. So last month, our Gamer Tag phrase was Big L can't win, with a wild card game of any new achievement or previous completion in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. The bonus was stop trying to make Simul a thing, because it's not. And that's earning achievements in games starting with the same letter as Big L. We're not going to force you to play the exact same games, but you do have to match the letters of the games. And that was worth 1 per game. The bonus was trying to give L a sandwich. So you were earning 5 achievements, and those achievements you would submit up to 5 achievements, because you want to make a tasty sandwich. If that 5th one was, I don't know, something gross like I can't think right now. I don't know, peppermint or something like that. You don't want that in your sandwich. You wouldn't submit that. And so the trade-off was, okay, well, I'll go with like this limited set of ingredients, or I can try to, nail 20 points or just get the 5 for just getting, 5 things. We had 15 participants, 8 completed phrases. We had 90 thymoled games, even though it's not a thing. And we had 41 sandwich ingredients that were entered. Now, Elle, how would you like to go about talking about these sandwich submissions? Because you were the one that had to choose the sandwich you thought was the tastiest.
Well, I'm going to read down the list.
Okay.
As far as I know, you were the only one that knows what I picked.
Yes.
So maybe the others can guess what I picked.
Okay.
And I'll say that it wasn't necessarily something that I thought would taste the best, because creativity definitely matters when it comes to an achievement sandwich. So, like you said, there was a max of 5 ingredients, and most people had 5, but some had less. So the first one was jelly, scarab, a bee, cats, and kale. The second one also had a cat, turtle, horse, a whole potato, and Butterfingers. The third had fish, crab, jelly, burger, and egg.
A whole burger
The
on your
fourth
sandwich?
had,
Yeah, that's not too bad. I like eggs on my burgers, but
I mean,
Like a burger in your sandwich,
thing.
though.
yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, anyways, keep going.
The fourth one is tiger, chicken, bull, blood, and tears. The fifth one is alpha burger, carnival pig, and wet monkey. The sixth one is sausage, egg, hot dog, blackberry jam, and cookie. The next one is stone toast batteries, which I guess were thrown at me and I ate, and slice.
I wasn't
That's
sure if that
gotta
was a
be-
Not sure
slice
about
of
that one.
pizza or if that's just the drink. It's just like doused in
Soda?
slice. I don't know.
Probably mixed with that stone over there.
Yeah. It's like a French dip, but
The next eighth is rabbit, sausage, lamb, deer, and cow. That is a meat lovers sandwich. And the next one is wheat, eagle, owl, and mint. And then this is a surprise submission. Not sure what that means. It is chicken, honey, iceberg lettuce, thyme, and ketchup.
well, I'm going to tell you about that surprise submission, and then we'll hear what you wanted. Really quickly, give me 1 second to set this up, and then we'll actually see this submission. Hold on.
Hey, Skeptical Mario here with another edition of Cooking Achievements. Today I'm making a sandwich for Big L because for the Gamer Tag Challenge he wanted some sandwich ingredients. So we have here some chicken. That's chicken dinner from Forza Horizon 5. We have honey drop from Stumble Guys. Iceberg lettuce. This is Iceberg Right Ahead from Dead Cells, Windows Stack. We have thyme, which is For the Very First Time from Aguilos. And ketchup, which is Just Pretend It's Ketchup from Cookie Cutter. What I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to cut the chicken breasts into cutlets, sear those on the skillet, and I'm going to make a honey ketchup glaze to coat the chicken in while it's cooking. I'm going to mix in some ketchup and thyme on lightly toasted honey wheat bread and serve that with a leaf of iceberg lettuce for your sandwich. Enjoy.
Wow. Now, to keep it fair, because Mario did go through a ton of extra to submit that, we only presented L with the text to make his choice. But we thought that was awesome and should be shared. So thank you, Mario.
Good job.
Thank you indeed. Love that.
All right. I am not sure how this is going to look like in the chat, but I'm going to try it anyway.
Yeah, it
Yep,
doesn't work.
That's what I thought, but go together. All right, we'll just count to 5 and pick all of those.
Big sandwich
you
there.
guys- if you want to guess what I picked, you can. But also, Koosh, do you have any idea of like which games and achievements these are coming from?
I do, yes.
Okay, that's a good answer.
I didn't pick any stats on those. If you want to look them up, you can check out the sheet at some point. But no,
You'll
I
have
didn't take any
you'll have
stats.
to show me. I would love to know which games our people played.
Sure, I will send you that information, but not right now.
Okay. Or you want to guess?
Well, if you're going off of like
Or do you want to?
real,
Or do you want to say your favorites?
I mean, I'm partial to the wet monkey, but if we're going like a real sandwich, like the Mario's chicken, honey, iceberg lettuce, thyme, and ketchup, like that actually works. I really wouldn't want to eat a bee or batteries. Meat lovers is a
Why
close
not?
second, though.
That was my choice, was the meat lovers.
Well, gamey.
Meat lovers.
Yeah.
I kind of think that fish, crab, jelly,
would-
burger, and egg is actually edible. Like I
Like
could
that,
see
that
that
could
happening.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to point me to those fish sandwiches
crab.
you'll eat then.
Take the crab out.
I mean, I could also eat that sausage, egg, hot dog, blackberry jam, and cookie. I mean, it's
Yeah.
all going to the same place. And those are all
Right.
good things,
Right to these thighs.
right?
Oh. All right. Well, my favorite, which was the one that I told Koosh, and it got 20 additional bonus draws, I believe.
Yep.
Was the Tiger, Chicken, Bull, Blood, and Tears. Because I don't know, I really like chicken, and I like. I'm sure I would like bull, and Blood and Tears would be the condiments, and then Tiger just is like the cat choice, but magnified. So that is what I went with.
I
So
mean,
looks like that's Ace's submission from the chat.
yes, that was Ace's submission, and Tiger Blood always equals winning in my book. So yes.
It's gonna be
So-
summer season.
So the winner of the 20 extra bonus draws is Ace. When we break it all down, our top 3 scores are Scarovese with 17 regular submissions and 5 ingredients. Chewy with 19 regular submissions, or I'm sorry, bonus submissions and 5 ingredients. And Northern Lass also with 19 bonuses and 5 ingredients. Our winner of the draw was Scarovese with the gamer tag, the wild card, 17 simul bonuses, and 5 ingredients. So congratulations, Scatovese.
Very nice.
And which one was his sandwich?
Yeah, I was just.
Oh, I don't know if he submitted. Do I have that? I have to look that up to see if he was one of the submitters. I don't have all that.
Oh,
handy.
you could win without submitting a sandwich.
Yes, you can win. Yes, it was just to get you 20 extra bonus draws, 20 extra chances to win that random draw, as opposed to the 5.
All right. Well, I'm going to disqualify him if he didn't, submit a sandwich.
Well, then we're gonna say he actually did.
Right.
Yeah, pretty sure he did.
Okay, cool. Congrats then, Scarface. All right, that was a lot of fun and very unique. Thank you, Koosh, for doing that. That was very
If
funny.
you can't win, let's
fun.
make it interesting.
I still can't win.
No, you still can't win. In April, our gamer tag phrase is April Fools. That's what you're trying to spell. Our wild card game is any new achievement or previous completion in a Game Pass game. Our bonus is genres, spelling up the 5 TA genres using the first letter of games not in that genre. The genre must be 5 or more characters in length, so you
Whoa.
can't do MMO or golf. And it's one draw per letter in a completed genre. So pick those longer genres. Our bonus is they're the same picture. Spell 1 TA genre using games that are only in that genre or have that genre. So if it's a multi-genre game, as long as it has the same one as the one you're spelling, that's the goal that we're going for here. The genre must also be 5 or more characters in length, blah, blah, blah. And that is worth 2 draws per letter in a completed game. Limit 1. You get to pick 1, so pick the longest one. That's the smartest move there. That's April Fools. If you have any questions, check out the Gamertag Challenge channel in the Discord, and we'll have fun answering them there.
Cool. Is there a patron drawing? I don't like patrons. Yes, no, maybe so. Was I sleeping while you did it?
No, I don't normally do the patron drawing. I don't think I do. Okay, I'll do it for you. The patron drawing for this month.
I'm not doing
Oh,
it.
you want to do it? I'll let you do it.
I don't like this guy.
We're
No, I
building
don't like
suspense.
this guy or girl.
This guy or girl.
Well,
Who's most
Just throw it
definitely a
in
guy.
throw it in there real quick.
this could be
Most likely not a girl.
Fine, I'll do it. The patron drawing winner is someone who made the mistake of getting married recently. It is none other than LAX the Jester. Congratulations, my friend.
On both accounts.
Yes.
Oh, he has an alt married account?
Yes, he does. It is Australia, the Jester.
Doesn't matter. In Brad Camp,
There we go.
we have completions
Oh, wow.
like we do every week. And this week, MDP is at the top of the leaderboard with 1,050 completed games. By top, I mean that's where I started. So next is Red 047, and he has 1,200 completed games, and that's it. So you guys did not complete that many games this week. Shame on you.
In streaks, the top scorer is Sangria with a 50-day achievement win streak. Then the next one below that is Stega with 100 days. Redemption Denied also with 100. J Black also with 100, but it's a Canadian 100. MDP 73 also with a Canadian 100. Interesting. Never seen them in the same place at the same time. Morbid 237 with 1,750 days. Enigma Gamer 77 with 1,950 days. Seamus McLiney with 2,750 days. And Matriarch with 3,850 days. Some would say that's more than a month.
That's more than a month.
Or two. In Gamerscore, we've got GT3 Option Fan with 200,000 Gamerscore, Grotesque Axe with 200,000 Gamerscore, Winter Muted with 250,000 Gamerscore, Surf Biscuit with 300,000 Gamerscore, iMike Zero with 600,000 Gamerscore, Freaky RO with 650,000 Gamerscore, J Black with 700,000 Gamerscore, Neon Prime with 750,000 Gamerscore, Eldritch SS with 800,000 Gamerscore, and Aniga Gamer 77 with 1.4 million Gamerscore.
Very nice. And leaderboards. Ace is in the top 5,000 of TA Difference leaderboard for competitive ratio. And it wouldn't read that, but Ace is my friend just for this one day. Because he likes Tiger. Fluttery Chicken is now in the top 2,000 of England TA Difference leaderboard for Stealth. GT3 Option Fan, good to see you back and playing, is top 200. Georgia TA leaderboard for Xbox 360. Icefire TN now in the top 10 of completed games leaderboard for Metroidvania. How about that? Imagine if he was good at games. KT Echo is in the top 100 of the USA TA ratio leaderboard. Mike Pitch is in the top 50 of the New York TA Difference leaderboard. Northern Lass is now in the top 200 of the Europe TA True Achievement leaderboard. Scaravasi is now in the top 100 of the TA leaderboard for management. And Wheezy Fuzz is now third in the Oregon Gamerscore leaderboard for management. And I don't believe anybody submitted any brags this week. And to that I say tisk tisk. Always tag me in Brag Camp channel and I'll read whatever you put there. So just tag me. All right. I think the people in the chat are pining for some ducky races. So we're going to have to sadly end this episode, of which we've been going quite a long time. Maybe our longest live episode ever. You could see that Corey's background went from light to dark while we've been chatting.
Back to light.
Did it? Nah, no, it didn't.
Not at all. It was kind of like that time Waka turned into an angel during that live show.
Bless.
He didn't sleep for like 48 hours straight. That was a good time.
Give people another minute or
Angel
two
Waka.
to get their subscriptions in. Oh, you wanna sign us out first, L, or
Bye. Oh no.
that's off, not out.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
For this very, very special live show. It should be back to the first Tuesday of next month, but I'm sure there's something else I'm forgetting. Let's see what I'm doing on my calendar. Yep, should be good. So thank you so much for listening, and class is dismissed. Goodbye.
Later.
See ya.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 10 of Game Passable. This is I'm saying beginning of April-ish, 2024, and we'll just go ahead and say it's a monthly thing now. And of course, this is your home for all those Game Pass goodies that you enjoy listening to and my breakdown on publisher analytics. But I can't do this alone. I am here joined with Mr. KooshMoose. How are you?
Not too bad. How you doing? It's been a while, it seems.
It has, yeah. You went lavish
That's true.
beach vacation.
I did. I went down to get some fries with some Old Bay on them, and yum, it's good.
Yep. So we couldn't record last week, and so now it's halfway through April, and boy, we should cover all the stuff that's been heading on the way out, including some of the stuff in March, just to circle back on some of the games here. So games that have already left and or will be leaving the service before April 15th. And this obviously comes out right away, but we lost Hot Wheels Unleashed Game of the Year edition from Milestone. I want to mention this one because Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 just joined at the end of March, and I'm pegging that this is going to be another 12-monther. So if you did not enjoy the rush of Hot Wheels Unleashed Game of the Year 1, like you, Koosh, right? Start a little earlier.
Yes. Yeah, I'm chipping away at the second one now, a little bit at a time, and it is so much nicer.
Yeah, so there you go. So like I said, Hot Wheels Unleashed, I'm at the 12 months on the sequel here. MLB The Show, of course, we nailed it. It was easy. 12-monther. MLB The Show 24 just came into the service. So guess what? It's another March expiration of next year. Infinite Guitars, we just lost. I actually finished that one. Interesting idea. I like turn-based. Didn't tell me it was action rhythm, which are two things I'm terrible at. So, but I'm glad I got that completion out of the way. This is by Humble Bundle. The other titles pretty much they seem like lifers, the one that have gone through. We got Unpacking and Slay the Spire as well, because those are core titles. And then in May, we talked about a likely title that's coming up, Superland, 6 Inches Under, that sequel. So I'm pretty sure you can expect that in May. And then the other ones that are coming up soon that I don't know necessarily about is Mineko's Night Market that came out in October. Coral Island hit 1.0 in November, and While the Iron's Hot came out in December. I think While the Iron's Hot is probably a good 12-month candidate. But I'm not sure about Mineko's, and then Coral Island is a complete enigma because it was in good game preview for so long. We finally lost Back for Blood. I thought this was in game preview for as long as it was. It hit the 30-month mark, and this is published by Warner Brothers. We do not have a good handle on Warner Brothers. They have some really long life games in there. Online multiplayer games, but then also that Lego Skywalker saga's in there, which still baffles me that that's survived as long as it has. And then we've got Gotham Knights, and so I cannot get a bead on what Warner Brothers is doing. So I would get working on Gotham Knights sooner than later, because I think that one's going to be a surprise, and you certainly are not going to get that done in the 2 weeks. Research and Destroy hitting the 24-month. Spike Chunsoft doesn't have anything else left in the service, so I'm not concerned about that. And then the last two are it's 3 games actually, all from Frictional Games: Amnesia Collection, Amnesia Rebirth, and Soma, all hitting the 18-month mark. Well, the only thing that's left is Amnesia: The Bunker, and that might hit that 18th month mark. We will mention it at the 12-month mark, but this was Frictional Games' first titles that have left the service, and all 3 of them hit the 18-month mark and were gone. So I think Amnesia: The Bunker is going to be in that realm as well. And then finally, Phantom Abyss, 18-monther. This was Devolver Digital. They've had 40 games on the service, and normally they leave at 12 months. They had about 35% chance. And then now 18% chance have left at 18 months and 10% at 24 months, which means most of the titles leave at one of those 3 critical pieces. And so what's left is that we got Monkey Island. Return to Monkey Island is hitting 18 months in May, which we mentioned in the previous episode. And then Shadow Warrior 3 just passed the 12-month mark and will be up at 18 months in August. So some kind of things to keep on the radar. If any of those titles jumped out at you, get your little notepad out, write them down so that you can get working early and you don't have to wait for this segment where we jump 2 months ahead. Koosh, anything on that? You said you were working on Hot Wheels. Anything else that you're chipping away at?
Yeah, I am chipping away at some stuff that we haven't really talked about yet. Chicory, I know we're going to get to that. Well, actually, no, we won't talk about that right now. But I think Chicory is going to go away. So I've been working on that, and I had forgotten how much fun that actually is. It's Zelda-like, and so I'm worried it's going away. So I'm focusing on that.
Totally. Like I said, I mean, we talked about May last time,
Yeah.
and of all the ones that were in May, I've got Monkey Island, Chicory, Superland, Ghost Lore, and Fuga Melodies of Steel 2 that I'm working on, more of them in earnest than others. And those are all May titles.
Yeah.
So like it's really hard to get ahead of some of these. But let's talk about June. We've got a bunch of the Game Pass subscription has reached out to a ton of new developers and a lot of independent developers. And so there's so many new titles that just we don't have enough data for. And I think that's kind of the growing notion. I don't know if Koosh you agree, but I'm sensing that a lot of independent developers really like the curated nature, and it's helping them get visibility that they normally wouldn't if they just launched on Steam and hoped for the best. You have any thoughts on that?
I hope that's true. I love indie games, and that's where you get the weirdness. That's where you get the things that aren't necessarily safe.
Totally.
And yeah, so I prefer them.
Yeah. So because of that, though, like I said, it makes it really hard to prognosticate. But we do have some in here that we can reach some conclusions to. This list here, not necessarily. I've got 4 titles here that are the only titles in the service. So House Flipper by Frozen District, that's 24 months. Space Lines from the Far Out by Skystone Games is also at 24 months. Sword and Fairy, not ferry like the boat, Fairy like a winged mythical creature. Together Forever by eHome Entertainment, that's coming up on 12 months. And then Car Mechanic Simulator 2021 by Playway is at 12 months. Those are all one and dones. They don't have any other titles in the service, so we have no clue what those individuals are going to do. Some of the other ones that have maybe more games in the service, Ubisoft. Assassin's Creed Origins is hitting the 24-month mark here. But that's probably safe because the other Assassin's Creed games have that are in the service, the Odyssey and Valhalla, they have not left the service yet. They're still sitting in there. Origins, I will say though, is the first of the open world trilogy. So if Origins ever does leave, I think that will tell you the lifespan for Odyssey and Valhalla,
Yeah.
because it's game 1, 2, and 3 in that list. We also have Ninja Gaiden Master Collection by Koei Tecmo. This is another 24-monther. Koei Tecmo has 2 other games in the service. None of them are left, and this is the first one in the service. So we don't know. We don't know if it's going to set the stage for the other ones. Fist Forged in Shadow Torch by Billy, 12-month game. This one highly depends on what happens with Eastern Exorcist in May. Those are the only 2 games that Billy has put in the service, and I think both of them sound like 1-year titles to me. So, Koosh, you liked Fist, right?
I did like Fist. Yeah, it's Metroidvania, and I was interested in it before it was in Xbox, and I was kind of sad that it came over. It's a fun little game. Oh, I shouldn't say it little. It is kind of sizable. I wouldn't say it's the biggest Metroidvania. It's a little bit. I'd say it's medium-ish. But yeah, good game. I enjoyed it. There is a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of skill-based achievements that you might be hung up on. If that's something that scares you away, you might want to look into that for the. There's like a move set. It's just like a fighting game where you have to complete the tutorial or whatever. Or yeah, those sorts of things. Like you have to do the combinations. So if you have problems with that and you're a completionist, be warned. That might be a sticking point.
Fantastic. Good to know. Marvelous Entertainment. They have 2 titles coming up on 12 months. They both came into the service at the same time. Rune Factory for Special and Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town. Yep, that is 1 game. Those are the first 2 games in the service that are hitting the 12-month mark for them. If I were a betting man, though, I think both of those are safe titles to stay. They just have the vibes of being long-term games. Not so much for Bramble the Mountain King. It's by Merge Games. First game to hit the 12-month mark. There are 1 other title in the service that's 6 months behind them. So this one is the Pioneer, and I'm getting 1-year vibes on this game. But again, it's a complete speculation on that one. Did you play that yet? I know that's on both of our radars to play.
I did. It's a limbo-like. It's very dark, and there are, I think, some
Dark is in
mystical.
atmosphere or dark is in lighting? Do I got to turn my gamma
Well,
up?
it's both. It's actually both. It's pretty gory, and it's also pretty dark. And there's also an achievement for not dying, so you will have to
Save scum.
save scum. Yeah, you have to save
God,
scum that.
I hate those no die achievements.
Yeah, I mean,
Suck.
you can play through once, do all your discovery, and then if you go back and do your save scum, I think that's the way I was planning on do it, but then I got distracted.
And when you say save scum, you mean like dashboard and
I
delete
think
saves?
so. Yeah, I think once you die, you dashboard, and then when you load back in, it starts at the checkpoint before your death. So I think
Cool. Okay.
I need to research, but yeah.
The final game on there's two. The Big Con by Skybound Games coming up on 12 months. They have 5 games in the service right now, and not a single one has left. Of those, we have a 21-monther, 2 16-monthers, a 12-monther, and a 10-monther. So who knows? 5 games, none of them are left. And then we have stacking. This one's weird. So it is published by THQ Nordic, and it's coming up on 12 months. The weird thing about it is, so THQ would be in the 50-50 category. Half their games leave at 12 months, and so I would, any other game, I would put this at the 50-50 mark. But this is a Double Fine game. So Double Fine Productions made this, which is owned by Microsoft. So because of that, I feel like this is a lifer. I guess the good thing about the whole thing is that the game is 6 to 8 hours. So if you do get the 2-week warning, I don't think I'd prioritize this. This can be done in that period of time, although there is DLC you do need to purchase to complete the game fully. Now we move into stuff that probably has a little bit more data, and No More Robots has 2 games coming up on 12 months. This name is just terrible, Koosh. Slayers X Terminal Aftermath Vengeance of the Slayer. That's a mouthful, and
like a good old 2: game.
It is. It is. It sounds like a just bad title. I have no other information on it. And then Hypnospace Outlaw. No More Robots has had 10 games go through the service. 3 of them left at 18 months. 3 of them survived beyond. I will tell you, though, that Hypnospace Outlaw was one of those 18-month games. It through the year 2021, right, and a little bit on either side, Hypnospace Outlaw was in the service already, and it has since come back. So I think it's pretty safe at this 12-month mark because it seems like No More Robots is an 18-month type game studio or game publisher. Now into the 50-50s. I'm putting McPixel 3 in here. This is Devolver Digital. And we ran the numbers earlier. 35% of the games leave at 12 months. This one, I think, kind of has those vibes as a 12-monther. Now, this was an early July release, like a July 1st or 3rd or something like that. So I'm giving it 50-50 in June. I'm going to bump that up in July and put that up at 75, maybe even 90 plus. I haven't quite decided, but we'll find out in a month when I record this segment with you. Did you play McPixel 3? I thought you got
I did, and it is gloriously weird and wacky.
That's what I hear.
It's fart jokes, and it's you're replaying scenes over and over and over again to do different things in them to get different outcomes. And at the time when it first came out, it was an enigma. Like there were no guides. TA has a pretty good set of guides, and the internet has gotten much better at documenting the things you need to do. So it's a lot easier to get through. It's a fun little game, and some of it made me laugh out loud. It is dumb humor.
Super dumb.
Sorry, super dumb. But it's great for getting achievements. It's got a lot
of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. No, there for sure there's a lot. Arcade Paradise is on our list of 50-50s. This is Wired Productions. This is just like McPixel 3. This was an early July release. What makes this one a higher priority is no games from Wired Productions have survived 12 months. And so this is either end of June or sometime in July. They are 3 for 3 on games that have left at the 12-month mark, and we'll get into this a little bit more in our showcase here because Koosh and I both played this game, and it's worth talking about. The last 50/50 is Dordogne. That's by Focus Home Interactive. They published this coming up on 12 months. This Focus Home Interactive is a hot mess when it comes to games leaving the service, but I will say this is a cool game. You should play it, and it's only 3 to 4 hours. So this is a great candidate for the 2-week window. That's why even though I put it on a 50/50, I'm not going to tell you to go prioritize it or not. You finished this one too, right, Koosh?
I did, but I didn't go to the bathroom enough, so I'm going to have to play it a second time.
Ooh, gotcha. Yep, I made sure I peed every day.
Yeah, you got to pee every day, guys. That's how you get infections. So
That's right. We're moving up into the 75% chance window here, and we've got Paradox Interactive published the Shadowrun trilogy. Now, that's not the Shadowrun trilogy that exists currently in the service. It is the actual 3 individual games: Shadowrun Returns, Shadowrun Dragonfall, Shadowrun Hong Kong. Paradox has had 23 games in the service. Only 8 of those have left, and 2 of them are at 12 and 13 months, and 3 of them are at 24 months, and that's these here that are at 24 months. And so the reason that this is higher, in my opinion, is because the Shadowrun trilogy exists. That they would much rather you just have the one. Like when the Hitman games were all in individually, and then the World of Assassination pulled them all together. I think this is going to follow that same suit. And these do each have individual achievement lists. So if you want to get that stack action, you could do each one of these individually and then play the Shadowrun trilogy, which is, like I said, in the Game Pass service. The last 75%er is The Bookwalker, Thief of Tales. This is by Tiny Build Games. And 50% of the games for Tiny Build leave at 12 months. And this game's, like I said earlier, vibes fit the bill under that. I marked this as one of those games I wanted to play. I thought it looked really cool. So I'm hoping I can get to this before June. But boy, I'm looking at the next couple of months of titles. And it is significant of what's leaving. The final title to talk about is FIFA 22. This is published by Electronic Arts, coming up on 24 months. Hey, guess what? FIFA 21 left at 24 months, and FIFA 23 is currently in the service, which means FIFA 22 is obsolete. I'm not sure what's going to end up happening for the 2024 because it's no longer called FIFA, but presumably it'll follow the same cadence. And I will nearly guarantee that FIFA 22 is gone in June. So that brings us to the game showcase. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. We want to talk about Arcade Paradise. I'll give you a couple little background things before you dive real deep. This was developed by Nosebleed Interactive and published by Wired Productions. There's 54 achievements for 3800 TA. This TA's got a completion estimate of 40 to 50 hours. Koosh, how does that hold up for you?
That seems about right.
I think so too.
Yeah, I'm at like 10. So.
Oh, really? Geez, I should look at what mine is. Mine is much longer than that. I am at, I guess I'm at 13. I felt like it was longer. And then it is listed as a simulation management game, which is true, but there's so much more to that. And so I will give you the quick rundown on what this game actually is. So you play as Ashley. I think she's college aged, if not graduated from college, but she is asked to run her father's laundromat called King Wash while he's out doing whatever. And so this laundromat's a pretty basic building. There's like 15 sets of washers and dryers. You got a bathroom, an office, a little seating area there. Plus, there's a little back room. It's got a few arcade games in it. This is a first-person interactive game, and it uses normal first-person controls, right? The graphic style, it's realistic graphic style. It looks like a nice, normal, real walking sim type game. But it's got this 90s arcade vibe to it. That's when the game is set. And so they do some interesting flourishes with those, with that art style where like you'll see people in your laundromat, and then when you walk toward them, It's just so you don't clip into them. They kind of pixelate and get all polygonal, and you can walk right through them, which is kind of cool. And then they have like these neat little animations and flares pieces when you're like, for example, if you're unloading or loading the laundry, there's like, little sprites that go into the laundry thing, and it kind of like, oh, it's like you're playing an arcade game almost while you're pushing clothes into the laundry or pulling them out of the dryer or whatever. And then another fun thing that they do with this motif is that they gamify these mundane tasks that you do around your laundromat. So when you come in, you got to pick up all the trash that's on the floor, and then when your trash bag is full, you have to walk outside, go to the bin, and there's a little like like a golf tee meter that moves from low to high, and you have to time it, so you throw it into the garbage bin, and the closer you are to max power or whatever, the more money you get for taking out the trash. And they do stuff like that with pulling gum off of, someone sticks gum to maybe one of your vending machines or something. There's another little mini game for that, which is the same thing, right? You let the thing fill up, and if you pull it at the top of, you have the most power, and the gum comes right off. And then there's a mini game for unclogging the toilet, which is kind of obnoxious. I'm using keyboard and mouse. What control scheme did you use? You controller or keyboard or mouse?
I'm using a
Koosh.
controller.
Okay. How does the bathroom thing work with the controller?
Oh, it's confusing, but I'm making progress.
Yeah. So
Yep.
you're looking at this toilet bowl, and you have a plunger, and for the keyboard and mouse, you rotate the mouse, and then it'll like zoom in when you find like the quote unquote sweet spot, and then you can click when that happens. And you do extra damage, and it's like you're actually hitting the toilet with the plunger, and causing damage to clear the clog. There's an achievement for accumulating 10,000 points of damage.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous like 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna take a while. You're not gonna get
Yeah.
it on your first one for sure.
Nope, for sure. And then the other part of the gameplay is that the washing and drying, right? That's the kind of your intro into making money in this game. And they're each on 3-minute cycles. So you load the washer, it runs for 3 minutes. When it's done, you pull the clothes out, put them in the dryer, runs for 3 minutes. Then you put that out and you put it on the table. People pay you. And so as these laundry things come in, you can do this little circle, but it's kind of time consuming. And so by the end of the first few days, one of the things is you go and you have to empty all the coin hoppers. So there's a hopper for the tokens to use the laundromat, and so you pull that, and you're like, "Oh, cool, $70, great!" And you go into the arcade in the back, clear out those hoppers, and there's like $400 back there, and you're like, "Oh, okay, well, so I'm making way more money on the arcade part of this business than I am on the laundromat." And so this is where the game loop starts, and you are trying to invest more in your arcade than you are in the laundromat. But if you don't pay attention to the laundromat, your dad's going to yell at you, and so you kind of have to do a little bit of the laundromat pieces. And what makes this game super super cool, and why I think everyone should play it, is that these arcades in the back room are actual games. They're like, there's 35 mini games in the base game, in the base package here, and then there are some DLC ones that you can add on, but each one is like a standalone old arcade game. Like, you will recognize most of them when you play. And 19 of those games have individual achievements tied to them. So you have to play a good variety of those to unlock all the achievements in the game. And I'm not gonna lie to you, some of them are super super fun, and you obviously would much rather be doing those games than working in the laundromat. But Koosh, what did you think of the game overall?
Yeah, when you first start out, number one, it's a simulation game, and I like it. So it's not your typical simulation game, because that's just not my jam. But yeah, the whole thing is your father thinks that you are running a laundromat, and you are doing all this arcade business on the down low. Like,
Right.
You're expanding, you're opening extra rooms, you're putting in more machines, and you're keeping all that from your dad. You're also upgrading the office, you're upgrading the safe, doing all these cool little things, and you're doing it all first person. If it had been just a screen where you're clicking the thing and you say, do that, do this, do that, yeah, it probably wouldn't be for me. But the fact that you get to play all these games, you get to choose where they go. And every day you get different challenges. You get 3 different challenges every day. And, that's working towards an achievement as well. I think you have to get 100 of those or something done. And there's an achievement for doing all 3 in one day. It might even be one for doing like 3 days in a row. I can't remember.
5 days in a row.
5 days in a row. There you go.
Oh, maybe it is 3. But yes, there is days in a row one. I framed that one in game.
Surprising no one. Well,
they gave me a really stupid one of like playing that llama game and getting like 250 points, and it's like that game's impossible.
Some of the games are really tough.
Yeah, it's like a Flappy Bird clone.
Yeah, and you're not gonna be able to get all the challenges every day, and unless you're super good, there might be 1 or 2 that just give you problems. That's fine. You'll find a way around them. But I haven't played every game, obviously, because I don't have all the expansions. I've put 10 in out of 40 hours, so of course I haven't played all the games. But the ones I have played are fun, and this is one of those games where you're just like, okay, just one more run, because a day goes by really quickly,
super fast.
Yeah. So if you're just trying to do your challenges and you're trying to do like the stuff you have to do around the shop with the gum and all that stuff, and the main reason, let's be honest, the real reason you're doing it is because there's an achievement tied to doing it so many times.
Totally.
But so you're gonna be playing this a lot with all these different cycles, and you're going to be trying different machines, and you're going to be focusing on them until you get them done, and then you're going to move on to your next set of machines.
Yeah. So what's neat about this is each machine has its own set of goals. So they're like between 3 and 5 goals, and the goal is specific to the machine. So it's maybe get a certain score, or complete the mini game, or do something in there. And each goal that you complete increases the popularity of the machine, which therefore increases the amount of people that want to play it and the amount of money you can make on that machine. So it behooves you to play each of these games to complete these in-game goals to make the games more popular, so more money comes in. Now the problem is when you're trying to semi-run your laundromat and you're playing these games, your watch keeps going off saying, hey, the dryer's done. Hey, the washing machine's done. Hey, the dryer's done. And it just keeps interrupting your game. And you're like, I'm in the middle here. Come on. Come on. And so you try to balance that. And then at some point, the store's going to close. Mm-hmm. And if you don't go home, you will pass out in the store. There is an achievement for that, not going home and passing out. Koosh, when you play each day, like what is your like loop? What do you normally do?
Well, I try to do my cumulatives. I do the gum. I hope that the toilet clogs.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that. But for the most part, like I said, I was focusing on like these 3 games or these 2 games, and I would try to knock out all their challenges, and then I would start moving to a different set of games I would just focus on, because otherwise I'm not really getting the practice that I need at each individual game.
Right.
One other thing, and I didn't check this out. One thing you can do with your Palm Pilot, by the way, is flip some jumpers on each machine to change the cost per play, to change the difficulty, and I think there's something else you can change too. But I didn't check to see if the game is actually easier when you go to play it.
No, it's not.
It's not. Okay.
No, it has no bearing. It's just what people feel.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one way to maximize your money, is looking at each machine and flip the jumpers until you see that you're getting the most money per hour, and then you just leave it that way. But it's nice to know that when you're playing it, it doesn't really change.
It's a base game. Like it's a non difficulty. Or it's a uniform difficulty no matter what you set it to. There is an achievement for setting all of your games to the maximum cost on the hardest difficulty.
I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, so that's easy to do because you can just set it, turn it on, and it immediately pops, and you can set them back to whatever's optimal.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of thing. You got to look through it, and it's like, okay, if I charge $1 per play, I got 20 people, coming. But if I make it really hard, only 8 people come, but I can charge them $250, and then it shows you what the math is, like your dollars per hour. And so you're trying to maximize each of your cabinets dollars per hour.
But back to your question, yeah. So what is a day for me? A day is go in, do all your accumulative stuff like trash, gum, toilet if you're lucky. Play some games, try to knock out some goals, then empty all the hoppers. Because if you don't empty the hoppers and the games are accumulating a lot of money, you're losing out on stuff. So then also taking all that money, putting it into the safe, and then trying to get the next machine. That is a day for me, and it is so hard to get all that done in a day.
100%. The
Yeah.
day is so short, and you are getting constant notifications that like something's happening. Hey, the hopper's full. Hey, the toilet's clogged. Hey, there's trash on the floor. Hey, there's one of the machines is broken. You have to go debug one of the arcade machines. Have you had to do that yet?
I have had to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dumb little mini game where you pull the chip on board, and then you have to flick cockroaches off of the motherboard, and that is quote unquote debugging the machine.
That's a bug.
There's achievement for that. Yeah, so like every morning I come in, I walk across the street from the bus, and I go pick up all the garbage and gum, and then I will throw in whatever loads of laundry are there to wash, switch out anything that needs to be dried. Like, I don't know why I still continue to do that. I feel almost obligated because you get angry voicemails from your dad if you're not running the machine. And then, yeah, like you said, you go pick a couple of titles. Usually they're based on whatever the goals of the day are, is I'll say, okay, I'm going to work on this one. But let's talk about some of those individual games. Do you have a favorite or any one that you've played so far that you really enjoy?
I mean, there's the GTA kind of zombie type one that I like. I guess that's 2 games, right? There's the
It's 2
GTA
games.
one. Yeah, and then there's the zombie one.
So the GTA one is Pac-Man.
Okay. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Racer Chaser
basically.
is a Pac-Man clone, but it has a GTA vibe to it. So you're driving your car around, and then the cops are trying to get you. Right. The cops are the ghosts, and if you get caught, then you have to run around on foot to get back to your car. And that's how you can kind of keep going. Did you know in that game that you can shoot out music bolts?
Yes. And that's how you stun them. You don't need to get like the power pill to then go.
Had no clue you could do that. It was
a
so hard.
I think there was a challenge that day.
There is a challenge, and I was like, it said knock out 30 cops. I'm like, how do you knock them out? You to hit them with your car when you crush them, or what? No idea.
That's how I figured it out was the challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, and then also like the little zombie thing. I always forget the controls for that one. Like, well, how do I go in the store? How do I throw a grenade? So that's why I don't want to jump around too much.
Is that Zombot?
Maybe. Yeah, that sounds right.
Well, because Zombot is like an over top twin stick shooter.
Yes, that's the one.
Yes, so that's Zombot. There's air hockey. That's pretty basic. That's one of your starter ones. There is my favorite so far. I have not played much Zombot. My favorite has been Blockchain, which is really interesting. It's so the idea is like you're hacking into something, and you've got these numbered blocks. They're numbered 1 through 7, and it's sidetrack here. The interesting thing about this title, or like when you try to explain these mini games, is they sound kind of confusing, but like literally you start playing it and you're like, oh, I totally get this. It just makes sense. Yeah. So back to Blockchain. There are 7 columns, kind of like Tetris, and you have your little block is at the top, and it'll give you a number. And what the number means is any combination of blocks, either horizontally or vertically, that equal that number will blow up that block. So if you had a 1, like a clean block, a clean space, you drop the 1 block down, the 1 block is by itself, and so it'll blow up. But if you had a clean space, you dropped a 2 down, well, there's not 2 blocks there, so it stays put. And then over time, the bottom will rise up, and you'll get a collection of hidden values, so you can't tell what they are. So let's say you've got the 2 there, and it moves up. Well, now you have 2, right? Because you got the 2 block and the blank one that came up. So the 2 explodes, and it opens up whatever that number was below. So let's say it was a 1. Well, now you have a chain reaction, and so that one blows up. And they're numbered 1 through 7, and so you try to go through, and as every time you drop a certain amount of blocks, the bottom will come up, and at some point, right, it pushes you through the top, and you Tetris fail kind of thing. I really had a fun time playing this game, and it is just a spin on Tetris, um, or like a Dr. Mario or something. And I found it so compelling. And so I beat that one. I have all the challenges on that one. And then another one that I've enjoyed is called UFO Assault. And this is, gosh, I've played this game in another title before, but you
A little bit
have
like Space Invaders. A
yeah,
little bit. Like
right, or Missile
reverse.
Command kind of.
Yeah.
Well, Missile Command kind of comes out at angles, but yeah, you have your alien moving from left to right across a cityscape, and you can just drop bombs onto sections of building, and every time you hit them, it drops a few pixels down, and then every time your spaceship goes from left to right all the way across, it moves down a level, and then it goes left to right across, moves down a level, and at some point, if you are not on top of it and clearing out the skyscrapers in front of you, when you cycle back and are lower, you will run into the skyscraper, and that's game over. And so that's another one of those titles, so simple, but remarkably addictive. It is fascinating. I think so. Do you only have a few arcade titles in your shop right now?
I think I almost have the first room filled. I think there was one expansion. So I think I have like the first back room, pretty much every slot filled, and the first expansion. And then I just got like a dart machine.
Oh,
So I started
interesting.
doing
Okay,
dart.
so you're like just in front of me, I think.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I have the Wudo Gal Adventures, and that's just a match 3 game.
Yeah.
And then there's there's like a warehouse one
Oh
where
yeah.
you have to sort blocks. That is stressful.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That
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 is a
that one
tough
might
one.
be one of the more challenging ones.
Yeah, you have these colored stacks of boxes and a blank palette, and you essentially have to. I'm sure you've seen those mini games on your phone
It's like
where
the
you.
Tower of Hanoi. Is that like Towers of Hanoi? I think
Oh,
it's kind of like a
maybe.
play on that, but it's not. It's
I just
more
always
than three
think
towers.
I
Yeah.
always think of those dumb ads on your phone where it's like, oh, you have the test tube of different liquids, and you've got to move the liquid sections to whatever. It's kind of one
Not
of
quite
those.
that. Not quite that. But yeah, it is juggling these blocks. You can't put a block on a block of a different color. So you have to like you can only put them on top
Oh,
of its own color. So it's a logic puzzle of like how do I shift all these around and then fill a stack of only that color. And that's when I'm done. And then I have like
yeah,
these open other palettes that I have to move stuff to. So it's all about juggling and getting that logic down while there's a timer, which
yeah.
is
Oh
what
my
I
god, the
hate.
timer is so stressful.
Hate
Holy
the
crap.
timer. Yes.
So yeah, and then what else? Is there any other titles that I'm missing that I currently have? Gosh, I can't think of anything else. But like, so that we just named 8,
Of 35
eight,
or
eight
something.
games out of the 35 that come in the base game. It is anyway. It is so fun, and some of those mini games are super addictive. And so the reason it takes so long is, like I said, there's an achievement for completing all of the goals on 15 machines, but you do need to accumulate enough in-game money to purchase the new machines so that they can come in. And like Koosh said, he has currently filled up his game room, which means you have to expand. And it just so happens that there is a storage room next door that's not being used. And so, guess what? You're trying to earn enough money to open up that storage room and continue to expand your arcade. And eventually, I mean, again, this is end game stuff. I don't know how it ends up, but presumably, you're going to turn this thing into a full arcade.
Yeah, you're
That's
just
kind
gonna
of the
get rid of the
that's
washing
kind of the
machines and
vibe I'm
stuff.
getting because there's just
Yeah.
no money in it, but the game is super fun. It is super fun. It did, and it's certainly something that 40 to 50 hours is probably accurate. You might be able to fast track some of it a little bit, but I think you'll find out with just how quick those daily loops are. Um, you're gonna you feel stressed out's not the right word, but there certainly is like an excitement and um, an urgency to the loop, and I just very much enjoyed it.
Pavlovian.
It is cool. It is cool.
Yep.
So that is Arcade Paradise. Like I said, good probability in June, better probability in July. And so highly recommend you go ahead and give that a play. It is sweet.
Now. Start
And-
now.
Totally. And with that brings us to the end of this month's segment.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it ends up going for the rest of April here. And we talked about some of the May titles. So, hey, stay on top of it. Hope you enjoyed, the segment so far. Appreciate any comments, concerns, anything that you want to reach out to us about. And I think that's it. Koosh, anything else you want to touch on?
No, just good to get another one of these in the bag. I don't know what they say. It's good to record with you again and get back on track.
100%. Awesome. Sounds good, everybody. You guys have a fantastic rest of April. We'll catch you in May. See ya.
Bye.